Right, now we've actually got to be quiet because we'll turn the mic on in a minute when I move down. So no more talking until we intro then, yeah? All you've got to do then is Alt-C, yeah?
Comments. It'll coming up now. There you go. If you click that link now, please, all of you, then that will take you to our YouTube page. So click that link, the FIFA Ramble on YouTube. That will take you through, so you can not only listen to us but also watch us play FIFA at the same time.
And we're kicking off with the absolute standard first game of the season.
First game of the Premier League. Arsenal versus Leicester is our first game because the bloody Premier League is back. Is everyone excited about the Premier League being back? That's the question.
I'm less excited about the Premier League back. I'm more excited about there being 21 days until that fucking transfer window closes.
Yeah, that transfer window. It's all. Oh, Petr.
He's worth 15 points a season.
And they say he's done. Can't save a penalty though. When he didn't save a penalty and though you won, it was brilliant because immediately I thought, he did mention this last week, that he's shit at saving penalties, he just can't save them.
No, I didn't say he's shit at saving penalties. I said that he's so bad at penalty saving that he doesn't even dive the right way. He's got an incredibly poor record of even diving the right way. Terrible at it.
So yeah, the Community Shield, that's been a thing. Oh,
can't trust the shower.
So yeah, the Community Shield was a thing. What would everyone make of the Community Shield?
Yeah.
It was a bit like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't matter until Arsenal win it. Same as I told you about the Super Cup.
Yeah.
The Super Cup means fuck all unless your team wins it, and then it's quite important.
Yeah.
It's like the Europa League final, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. No, not at all. Whatever. Like, we'll count it as a cup now we won it. It's really irrelevant if you don't win it. So, yeah, we can call it whatever you wish. Yeah, not that fast. But the start of the Premier League, Friday night game.
I quite like that. I quite like.
Yeah, fucking right.
I do quite like this. Sort of the opening. It's like the World Cup opening game, isn't it? Where it's just one game. It gets you involved.
Oh well, what's interesting about that then is I wonder whether the first World Cup game always used to have the hosts, yeah.
Yeah.
Although that is now potentially changing because the hosts always automatically qualified. Anyway, right, I'm off on a rant already. I wonder whether they should do the first game of the Premier League season should always be, if it's going to be the Friday night now, whether it should be the defending champions.
Oh, I quite like that idea.
Because we could do that. We're sending out 404s here, by the way.
I know, I just noticed that.
That's a wonderful save. That is a wonderful save.
Wonder save.
I quite like the idea, actually, of that. The
Premier League champions. The reason I like that...
Seen it, Sean.
Is...
Completed it. Don't remember that.
the reason I like that, and this will be one of those ones that I reckon a load of people probably don't know, even though they really like football, is that in Spain, the first game of the season is when the first game of the season is when last season's champions get awarded their league.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
on the last day of the Spanish football season, and you win the league, you don't lift the trophy. That isn't the same. You get awarded it on the first day. So Real Madrid will have their last season's league trophy awarded to them. I can't even remember who they're playing.
They have a like the open top bus parade and shit like that.
No,
they have a celebrate this. So
because they all go to the thingy fountain, don't they? The fountain, like, always completely forget if it's Real Madrid. So 100,000 people go to whatever that fountain's called. I can't remember. So yeah, no, they generally, it's not like open bus parade. It's a really British thing. Yeah.
I saw the Brighton one.
Unless Ramos is going to drop the cup underneath the bus's wheels.
Wonderful. Do a Brian Harvey with the trophy. Yeah, Brian Harvey with the trophy.
Jack Potatoes may not have been involved when they were with Brian Harvey.
It's the best receptacle to cook a world-class jacket potato with Champions League trophy.
Yeah.
Old big ears. It's why Brian Clough won so many. That's because he fucking loved jacket potatoes, and his missus could do a lovely one. Bit of butter, loads of salt.
I bet she could.
Yeah.
How much salt?
She's a wonderful woman.
Loads of salt.
Too much.
Too much salt, yeah, but rock salt as well. He didn't scrimp. He was a complex man,
Not
but he
pink.
wouldn't scrimp.
Pink Himalayan.
It wouldn't. Oh, Brian Clough would not stand for pink Himalayan.
No.
Oh. I'm pretty sure he dropped Martin O'Neill from the European Cup final for being Irish. He's not going to have Himalayan salt. So there's that. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I am genuinely looking forward to it.
There's some good
Football is fucking
games.
wicked.
There's some great games as well.
I don't even care really. It's just fucking
Okay.
football is going to be so lovely to have back because it's just the best, potentially.
What I'm
Best
quite looking
football.
forward to as well is the watching, as I know you don't get involved in it, but the fantasy football blog sites and shit.
Yeah, they're all firing already.
They're all they go live straight away. There's one called Fantasy Football Scouts who review every they do goalkeepers, then they do budget defenders, mid-level defenders, and premium defenders. So it's all based on the price range of each position. But you look at the comments and they're all the same. So we've now established, or when I say we, I mean the internet have now established that Everton have got shit fixtures at the start.
Yeah.
So have Leicester. Palace have got an easy run. So have West
You say
Brom.
that, but it's no barometer, is it? For fuck's sake,
No.
it's the beginning of the season. You get those weird results which make us go ooh.
I've got.
But then it all just.
Is that true? Does that actually happen?
I
Is that one of those
think it
things where they the managers banks? When you get a new manager, you win more games, and until somebody actually proves with facts that isn't the case at all. That's bullshit. It's interesting because the bookies are never as certain at the early.
So there's so many bets flying.
Somebody was talking the other week that the Championship is absolutely where all the value is in terms of bookies, because not only is the Championship a fucking bonkers league anyway.
Yeah.
The start of the season, where you've got no idea about form.
You just don't know.
He's waving at people.
I'm waving at people. I'm not allowed to give them personal introductions, but Lou just dropped in.
I'm not allowed to give them personal introductions.
I know, I can't help it. Right.
Andrew McDonald's and
Andrew McDonald's fucked off probably now. The interest from a betting standpoint, where I make quite a bit of money my quite a bit of money is different to some others because I only ever bet £1.
Yeah.
Because £1 I'm happy to lose. If you drop £1, you don't give a shit. So
I'm picking that £1 up though.
We're picking up see it. But I put £1 on last season on a 6-team accumulator. It came in, I won 180 quid. And then at the end of the season I had about 90 quid I had. So even
180 to 1 those odds were. I've done the maths.
What about all the losses?
Yeah, but it's £1. I don't care. If I'm betting tenors, that's why I don't bet on any.
You got kids, you're not betting tenors.
No, I'm not betting tenors. I'm not Rockefeller. I'm betting tenors. But
that's tickled me. That has got me. That has. Well done, you.
Scottish second division.
Rockefeller. That's lovely.
This is interesting. Leading on, now I was sent this by someone who, I won't mention his name, but he is a blogger for fantasy football. Now we sort of been following each other for a while, and he's a really good follow. I won't mention his name because he asked me not to share this, but I know for definite that he won't watch this.
Yeah, but
So
you're
I
still
feel
mentioning it.
Okay.
You're showing yourself up basically to be completely untrustworthy.
Untrustworthy
And by
against
sharing
fantasy
this
football.
like small nugget, what you're essentially doing in the long run
I feel
is
bad for
potentially
sharing it.
yeah. Well, don't share it because you're potentially prejudicing us with further decent information.
It was someone is basically what they've done is they've done a.
So he's still going to say it anyway.
No, I won't go into it, okay? I won't do it because that's the bit he didn't want sharing. He didn't want the content of it sharing. However, someone has followed all of the Premier League pre-season games and created a league table based on results.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting reading from a standpoint of will that then correlate to a good or bad start to the season? From performance standpoint, obviously results, if you're playing second division Austrian side and then you start the season against Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal or whatever, you're probably going to get a worse result. But from a performance standpoint, he's sort of arguing, well, they're already performing to a certain level. Will they just immediately gel? And it's quite interesting reading. It'd be interesting to look back on it and go, oh shit, right, actually they did have a good start to the season, so therefore pre-season results may actually mean something, or pre-season performances, not results.
Do you know what I think he's done there? Wasted his time.
But do you know what I mean? From a,
I know.
from a performance standpoint.
No, I know what you mean. That's bullshit.
Form.
There we go. And
Pre-season, beginning of the season,
it's not
it's
likely
irrelevant.
to be either indignant and entrenched in my position.
No, you're
Luke.
not.
It's really unusual. It's unusual. It's uncomfortable almost to find myself having really strong views about something trivial. But that is fucking poppycock. That's what we say in this chair. Well, that's a lovely move. So I suppose we better get cracking on.
Southampton.
I quite like the intro. Right, the first one then that we're going to talk about was Southampton partnering with the Big Issue. Have either of you seen this story?
Yep.
I haven't actually.
They've partnered with the Big Issue, which will mean that there's a special Southampton Football Club edition of the Big Issue sold. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be throughout the season or if it's just a 1 week thing, but they're going to sell a special club edition of the Big Issue around Southampton and surrounding areas.
The general Solent area.
Yeah, the general, except Portsmouth.
Well, clearly.
There were areas they're selling it though that are further afield than Portsmouth.
Oh yeah.
Skipping out Portsmouth. They're not going to get any sales. Then from there, all vendors who are going to be selling the Big Issue
will be sold to Liverpool.
They'll be sold.
They're all being sold to Liverpool for hyperinflated homeless prices. No?
No, I don't think that's happening. Well, it wasn't in the link that I saw anyway. I don't know. I didn't read the Daily Mail.
I think it's a very nice idea.
But all the vendors who are selling it are then going to be offered the chance to be on an 8-week programme, which essentially is teaching them like job skills and interview techniques and things like that. It's an 8-week programme. When they complete it they get given the list of all internal positions available currently at Southampton Football Club.
Really good.
And they can then apply for those jobs.
The difficulty with that is that what that fundamentally misses right, and clearly the Big Issue would have ironed this out because they're a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Employability isn't an issue for a lot of homeless people. It's not having an address.
Yeah.
So presumably Southampton are looking to address that in some way. No, not you.
It's a better positive story though than just a
photo
photo shoot of bullshit.
Yeah,
temporary throwaway.
Well, did that not happen with the at the Manchester bombings with that homeless chap that got widespread coverage for helping people out or alerting and what have you, and then 3 weeks later, after having kind of like his 15 minutes of fame, was
just
back on the streets in exactly the same position. It's like, right, well, you know, all those people that
But the
shared
photos
on
look good.
Facebook,
The
exactly.
photos, I mean, he went
that
viral.
shared on Facebook.
Well,
Well,
that's what
he's
matters.
absolutely loving it. I mean, going viral is absolutely feeding him and changing his socioeconomic.
You don't need a house and a job and
No.
food if you're viral.
What you need a tweet that bangs. I've read that. What does that even mean?
Kim
Is that
Kardashian
one,
would much rather go viral than have food.
In fairness, Kim Kardashian actually is probably the worst example you got to pick there, because her whole strategy was to go viral and then become a millionaire.
Yeah, it was. She did.
She had a fairly strong background. Let's not pretend that
something.
she was.
Yeah, no. I was going to say something then that I potentially can't say on a live stream, but no.
Well, all right. If you can't
can.
say it on a live stream, don't say it out loud.
I think it'd be fine actually. I saw there was a tweet that went around that said when Bruce Jenner.
He's off.
When Bruce Jenner
Big Red.
When Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner, there was a tweet going around that said, "Imagine the Kardashian house," and they're like, "How are we going to get famous here?" And it was, they pulled things out of a hat, and they were like, "Kim, oh, sex tape, oh, fucking hell, unlucky Bruce." And it was that thing, and that's why. But Kim Kardashian, I mean, you can't really fault her, I guess.
Can't believe we're talking about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
She's not on there. She's not on the running order. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right, that leads in nicely to the Juan Mata.
Does it?
Yeah,
Well, I suppose the big issue stuff does lead into it. Yeah. But no, just want to link. Just sort of really just say well done Southampton. I think it's a good. I think it's positive, especially because it means that for once there was a Southampton story that did not involve bloody Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
58,000. Yeah, true.
But it was good. But no, that leads on to the next story, which is Juan Mata is
what a gent he is.
committed 1% of his salary from here on out to charity,
and he's inspiring other players to do the same.
and he's picking an 11. He's picking a team of 11 players, and they're gonna all commit 1% of their salary as well to the same charity. The charity is called Common Goal, which is run by Street Football World, which is essentially raising money for underprivileged children by using football.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's 1% of his salary, which is amazing. But a massive thing, as you say, is that he is going to be bringing other people into it as well.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's not just a one-off sort of season, and it's here on out. 1% of his salary is going to this. He's picking his 11. I don't think his 11's been announced or any other players as yet, but he is going to be picking other players to go into it. Well, it was a really good story.
I think it's a fantastic thing ongoing.
The interesting thing about that is that I and lots of other people already commit considerably more than 1% of their salary to charities every year. I suppose where that works is just because his salary is a little larger than mine. But yeah, it's easy for me to be flippant, but also working in the charity sector.
Yeah,
I think it's an excellent thing, and yes. But anybody that's ever done any work with him raves about Juan Mata as a person as well as a footballer, a professional.
Which is nice because when you see.
Well, yeah, it's really easy to get those stories.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like Ronnie Corbett.
Also, disappointingly, apparently Bobby Charlton.
No. Oh
shit! You've gone wrong there, haven't you?
What you've done there is, without scripting it, the most Arsenal thing that you could have possibly done.
Arsenal.
The interesting thing about this is that this can't come true because Koscielny is already suspended for the first 2 games of the Premier League season.
Oh, right. Do you want a question?
No.
Right, for those watching on Facebook, because we moved on, that's a no, and not on YouTube, what's happening is Arsenal...
Well, no, don't tell them. We agreed on this.
Oh, we haven't...
No, that's fucking business. They've got
go to the link.
100% chance to go to the link. That's
Click
it.
the link, go over, you can see what just happened.
Yeah, well, not
There's
even.
drama.
Not even.
Hashtag drams. There's that first hashtag. I'm just waiting for Worm to drop a hashtag in at some point.
As if that's ever going to happen. Yeah, so they're not permitted to know what's going on.
Can we go to Facebook for some questions?
Why are we doing that now?
Well, we
got loads to talk about.
We could do.
We'll do that as a section later.
Sean, we're going to do it as a section later. We'll do questions later.
Send them in.
Pops up. There are, send in some questions. If you're watching, send them in.
They're not even questions.
No,
what is written there?
There's a Seymour. See the word that says Seymour?
Fine.
It's there under there.
Who's Seymour?
Gabbo.
Who's your favourite Seymour?
Skinner.
Yeah, like, he's your number one, isn't he? He's probably number one. Can you name any other Seymours?
Shot of Horrors.
What, suddenly Seymour. Mm-hmm. But you didn't think you were going to get a musical performance this evening?
I certainly didn't. Right, what he's done here now is we're meant to be playing game after game, and he's just put the controller down and landed it on.
That's fine.
He's bogarted the controller.
Look.
Who are we playing?
You're doing some Johnson other one
it's
next.
Like great. Right, I'm not going to be... Probably better you don't give me a controller, because I'll just say end match, won't I? I'll click end match.
Oh yeah, neither of you permitted to do any of this stuff. Skinner can pick a team though, he knows how to do that. He's very good at picking teams. So yeah, the Muhammad thing, to round it off, is lovely. The more money that is given from people to charities, no, you have that.
Sean's put a Seymour in. I'd like to see more questions answered. I quite like that.
It doesn't work though, because he'd like to hear more questions answered, because he won't physically see the questions being answered. It's an oral experience. Oh, hey you.
Listen.
Look at Kilmarnock's finger.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
okay.
It's the 2 squirrel finger band.
Literally,
That's what that is.
All that's missing is the pinky for the socket.
That's almost there though.
Just nearly there.
Just need the socket. You just need.
And whoever designed those fingers, they are the worst fingers I've ever seen in my life.
Two peas.
What the fuck is these?
Why? Oh, Jesus Christ.
That was drawn by a person, that has never seen a squirrel, a football, or a hand.
What are they on? Is that a cushion
fucking
or a
hate
scarf?
those footballs. Those footballs are awful.
Like
that foot. Yeah, no, that is the worst logo.
They're on Taribo West's hair. Is what they're on there.
Oh, jeez, that's
and for those on Facebook that refuse to go to YouTube, they're missing out big style there. Because that was an excellent Taribo West thing.
Right,
right, you're on there.
Get in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Motherwell, is Stuart McCall in my side? Because I'm not interested in it. Oh God! No. I got involved. Sorry.
You said you
were doing.
You said
Sweet mother of God. Right, so we're gonna. I suppose we move on and we start talking about the next bit really. So the next thing we're talking about is, and this answers Janie Smalley, who, whilst refusing to accept, keeps telling me that I don't know her. She seems quite bloody pushy in the comments. She wants to know, when you say diving review, are you talking diving on the pitch or into a pool? Well, we're talking about diving on a pitch, Jane Smalley. So this week it was announced that there will be a 13-person panel that will review diving. It is a group of ex-pros, game administrators. It's got a broad cross-section, if you accept that the broad cross-section is British people.
And also 12 men and 1 woman.
12 men and 1 woman, not that it's token, but Rachel Brown-Finnis is involved.
Only woman
involved. But there's a 13-person panel, and the scope that this panel has is that the Football Association is looking to clamp down on diving in a big way, and they believe that they will do that by having a panel of people that look at dives each week, and if it was in fact adjudged to be a dive with a view to conning the referee into giving a free kick or a penalty, the suspensions would be meted out.
Yeah.
And in theory, that's great. In theory, that's absolutely great. But in practice, as I said to you immediately, the concerns that I have is that in my eyes, and stats don't necessarily bear this out after, we'd have to look at it, but there is already a perceived disparity between English players diving and foreigners coming over and diving.
Yeah. And
in lots of people's eyes, there were certain English footballers that got away with murder. So Wayne Rooney's famous falling over Sol Campbell's leg for the 50 games.
Yeah.
You've got Steven Gerrard with a litany of dives / falling over. Jamie Vardy had an absolute run on it, didn't he?
He's gone big time.
So that's really interesting. And I think there's already a bit of a prejudice, and I do worry particularly when you look at the names that are on that list. And you've written down 2 there. You've got Danny Murphy and Trevor Sinclair. Like, fuck me.
Yeah.
The Football Association will have the greatest minds in the world that are interested in football begging to work with them, and they've strangely, I mean, it's unusual for a football institution, but they've kept it as a closed club with people that they already know. Again, as you said, you've already brought up the female thing. I haven't looked at the full list, but I can't imagine there are many BAME representatives there at all. Trevor Sinclair is there, but I imagine that it will be a classic white, grey-haired, middle-aged panel. And I do just worry that there's going to be... It's giving too much power to people that aren't there in the moment. And I mean that with... they've already got a number of officials. Now, a second thing that reiterated to me the difficulty of the job was the Charity Shield. And it's interesting that you brought that up. So there was an incident... quite early on, I suppose, where Willian went through on goal. He beats Hector Bellerin, appeared to go through on goal, and then hit the ground.
Yeah.
So a penalty wasn't given, and then BT Sports doing their trick of trying to employ as many people to commentate on a game or get involved with live broadcasting as they can, none of which increase in the level of quality. They brought in Mark Clattenburg, ex-Premier League referee fame. Now, as you know, well, he's gone off to the Middle East, hasn't he, for huge bucks, to Qatar.
Huge.
So they brought him in, who he had 3 or 4 looks, all of the replays that were given to us as a viewer, and I obviously would have said this straight away. I said that isn't a penalty, but it isn't a dive. William was booked for it. Klatz looked at it a number of times and came on the TV and said, "No, that's a definite dive there. No, he's absolutely deserved his yellow card there." And he was from Spuggy Burn, you see. So Biker Grove's rival youth club, for anybody that didn't get that reference. Denton Burn and Spuggy. So he said it was a definite booking for a dive. Then when they showed the replay, it wasn't a foul, but Hector Bellerin, his knee came through, did clip Williams' trailing leg, which then caused him to ankle tap himself. Now, interestingly, Mark Clattenburg, at the end of the broadcast, or half time even, I think it might have been, because I don't watch beyond the end of the game, looked at it again. He said, "Oh no, the benefit of 5 replays," clearly not admitting his own liability there. So with the benefit of 5 replays there, you can see there was some contact, and it's like, right, okay. So even with the video evidence,
some people don't seem to see that sometimes it's not a dive, but it's also not a foul.
Right, and that is absolutely the key point here. Sometimes it isn't a dive, and sometimes it isn't a foul, because the ball had gone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a yellow. Now, the point that they make is, by giving the yellow there and then, and that being an incorrect decision, Willian might need to make another tackle somewhere. He might miss-time a tackle, and he will be, not rightfully, sent off for it.
Yeah.
And so, as the themes will continue throughout the season, etc., I am so for video technology to be introduced, you wouldn't believe. But what I honestly think is that you have to eradicate the human element of it.
Yeah,
you really do. So this diving panel are in, and I just wanted to flag it before the start of the season that I genuinely believe this will be something that we come back to over and over and over again, and I'm convinced that there will be at least one major incident of an English talent and Harry Kane and Dele Alli and Kyle Walker, somebody. Wayne Rooney blatantly diving, but getting away with it because they are British. And then Johnny Foreigner going over in a real tackle of some descriptions and getting absolutely nailed by this panel.
It's a physical sport,
and so we will see on that. So that's kind of that, and I suppose it'll be interesting for people to give their feedback, because I am constantly aware that I am no barometer of the wider world's viewpoints on these things. But I wondered what you two thought about that. Is it me just getting blusterful?
I really want to see the rest of that panel.
We can get it up. I'll see if I can get the.
It's like
I'll get it up on my phone.
Do you remember last season when there was a head stamp? And
who was that, Skinner? Who did the head stamp?
It was one of those things of like
Mine's there.
No, I'd like to find mine, which is now under my leg. Who was the head stamp?
Who's the head stamp? Who's the head
stamp?
It's on
Zlatan.
Oh, it was.
You're absolutely right. So Zlatan and Thingy went head to head.
Mings, Tyrone Mings.
Tyrone Mings. They'd had a couple of off the ball.
You could have seen that two ways. Like, I thought it was a little bit naughty, but understandable. But I think that was one of those situations which could have been like, you're going to get fined, you're going to miss tons of games, and you're going to be under investigation, whatever. And that was one of those subtle things.
Right, let's see if I can find that 13 person, 12-man woman.
It might as well be 13
man. Do you want to talk us through the game a minute? I've not really been watching because I've been ranting.
Neither of us are particularly good sides.
Yeah. I was quite happy with the goal.
It was a good goal.
Yours was a lovely finish.
But they're not.
You're playing two stars.
Fucking hell, I've just seen that Lee Dixon's also on it.
Oh, okay. He's Sol Campbell.
Yes, that's Chris. It's Sol Campbell.
Oh no, he's the I want to take that. He's Graham Pole on there.
Absolutely incredible. Let us.
I only found out about Plattenberg, going back somewhat. I only found out about Plattenberg the other day.
Oh, did you?
Jesus.
Did you want to ask me?
And
this is absolutely. Sorry to talk over you. This is absolutely incredible.
Are we ready now?
I can't. Oh, please, Arry's on there.
Right. So the way it'll work is each case will see the Football Association call on 3 people from the 13 person panel.
What is that? This team is shocking.
And I can't call it up because this website has now decided to throw up a load of pop-unders on it. I fucking hate the internet. Like the internet is the perfect analogy of the human race. Comes up with something interesting and then considers all the ways it can fuck it up. Right. This 13-person list is really something quite special.
I can't wait for it.
Where's it gone? These pop-unders can... This is where we're meant to do the... do a bit of prep and do this beforehand so I could recall this information quite quickly. I'm giving up on it a minute because this website is an abomination. Here we go. Nigel Adkins.
Nice.
Rachel Brown-Finnis, which is really good. It's fucking popped up again.
Just there should be a cross, shouldn't there?
No, it's a pop under. This is the problem. It is a really shit. This has now forced me to go. It tried to force me, but I'm refusing to go to the Daily Mail.
Bad times.
Paul Dacre's not getting me that way. Not even through football. Not even through. This is, here we go. This is almost exactly the same article, so it's definitely a press release. So former players and managers, yeah.
So all former managers.
So no, there's a section, yeah. So
okay.
Nigel Adkins, Rachel Brown-Finnis, Terry Butcher, Lee Dixon, Alec McLeish, Danny Murphy, and then they've got the 2 black people on there, yeah, bunched together. Chris Powell and Trevor Sinclair. Now, if that Chris Powell appointment isn't out of feeling incredibly bad because he's been treated really shitty as a manager and has got some fairly outspoken things about racial profiling and the need for a Rooney Rule. Former match officials: Karen Barrett, Steve Dunn, Mike Malarkey, Alan Wiley, and Eddie Wolstenholme, which is I mean, Mike Malarkey's good. Like, he's
No mess.
but unbelievable that is. Like that. What a fucking shower of shit that is. So what do you make of that then, you two? Is it just me being outraged?
It's terrible.
I hate that shit anyway. Because like it's a subjective thing at the time. Like I'm been all for video playback for fucking time. It's just what's needed, isn't it?
It's just outrageous. Like no, not a.
And it's
Nobody
just gonna stir some
continental.
debate though. I think it's just there to just get a fucking debate going. You know, it's gonna be, well, I think is this, well, I think is that way. That's why, you know, they profiled that group of people like to all disagree with each other just to raise some debate.
I still think they all disagree with each other though. I think they'll all just routinely agree. It's like that was Steven Gerrard. Well, that's fine then. I mean, not Gerrard, obviously. It's like that was. Like where?
Can't handle it.
Where
Can't
are
handle
all
it,
of the? Where are the
Gotta get
people
used to that in this country.
that we brought up before that love getting involved with all this shit? Like, where's Vialli and Huller and Zola and like maybe they were asked and like, to be fair, maybe they were asked and they weren't interested. But it's such a parochial group.
So Joey Barton.
Get
Fucking
Joey on
Barton. Get Joey Barton on it. No,
Can we
that,
have-
the reason they couldn't get Joey Barton is because he
If-
bet on he bet on the results for which he was taking part on practicing the panel. So
Where's Joey now? Should we have a Joey watch? I like it.
Joey Watch.
should we call it Joey's pouch? And
Yeah,
we will.
Joey's pouch. Currently, he's in St Ives, and I know that because I follow him on Instagram. He posted a picture
It's
earlier.
nice, so nice.
Are you aware of how? And this is one of the most gruesome things in nature, and I mean that of being fairly aware of all the gruesome things in nature.
Yeah.
Do you know how a baby Joey gets to the pouch?
Climbs,
No.
clambers.
It is absolutely fucking
So-
rancid. So a
Yeah.
kangaroo gives birth to. Essentially, it's just like this
Little mole
weird,
thing.
like
Little-
almost like
It's like
fetusy naked
baby
mole thing.
panda, innit?
That is no, it's even smaller and more
Is
rancid
it?
than that. Yeah, covered in slime and all
Rancid.
sorts, and it's still attached at that time, the umbilical cord, etc.
Yeah.
And the thing's first instinct is to climb towards an extra area of heat, away from the vagina, and so it attaches itself to the outside. And over about 6 hours, it crawls up the outside of the female kangaroo and slides down into the pouch where it kind of finishes the last couple of months of development on and off. It's the weirdest, most gruesome looking thing you've ever seen. But nature is incredible.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. It's not something I'm gonna YouTube, to be honest. I don't think.
I told you that I'd get away with it because originally I wanted to do a kangaroo ramble and
Yeah.
Luke refused. He said no one's gonna watch that when you've only got one fact about kangaroos. But I got it in.
We've gone quite. We need to have a nature section because that's the second time we've gone naturalist now.
That's
after
no.
our mower and kakapo.
Naturalist.
Oh, the
You mean
kakapo.
naturist? which one's the nudes?
No, naturist is the nude. I was very
I'm
careful.
fully aware.
I
I'm
was
fully
very
aware.
careful then. I've got another. This is just.
This is
The
injury.
injury
This is really
ramble.
interesting. Well, let's move on because the next one's really interesting. And I've got to spend a bit of time on this. So, the next topic we're going to talk about is the Bundesliga,
Feed the goat.
which is lovely. We really like the Bundesliga, and the reason we're talking about the Bundesliga in
Where's that?
this particular guys is 70% of Bundesliga signings thus far, or signings into the Bundesliga, have been for players under the age of 24. And as Luke pointed out earlier, there are 3 teams in the Bundesliga: so Leipzig, Bremen, and
Mönchengladbach.
Mönchengladbach.
And it's not. Is it?
Is it not Bremen? No, I found Mönchengladbach.
Mönchengladbach, Leipzig, and I can't think of the third.
You can look it up in a bit when you're not playing. Have exclusively signed players under 24 years of age.
Yeah, 17 to 24.
17 to 24 year olds, and it's just another ticking. And I'm not necessarily one that is all about the it's amazing because they've got the 50+1 rule. They're fan owned, blah blah blah. They've got drinking in the stadium and all that. I think there's actually quite a lot of flaws with German football, but this is just one of those ones where it's really lovely as a way of avoiding humongous ticketed players and playing the transfer system against Premier League teams, they're just going about it an alternative way by buying youth players, developing them, and looking to sell them on to the bigger clubs. I suppose there'll be a lot of those teams that are looking to
Kevin De Bruyne
to be the next club to sell Bayern Munich. You know, the next Dortmund, really. Which is interesting because not everybody will be Leipzig. You know, they're a team who's proven that they're not keen to sell their players. No. But most other clubs, they're in an isolationist position there. There will be most other clubs will be desperate, I suppose.
If you're a young footballer, you'd love to go to Germany, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Oliver Burke. We've spoken about this before.
Oliver Burke. Yeah.
Oliver Burke made an absolutely excellent decision there. Not only did he choose to go to Germany, he also picked a fucking club on the app as well. It might ultimately be his undoing at Leipzig there if he's not quite good enough to play for a team that has solid Champions League expectations every season. But yeah, I just do it. As we said, we've already done this on the Ramble. You know, there is an increasing number of good level British talent moving abroad now, with Germany being a good thing. You know, there's some other reasons. So, you know, as we've said, Anders Juncker, who was formerly of the Arsenal Youth Academy, has taken a couple of the Arsenal boys to Wolfsburg to work with him and Freddie Ljungberg, who's there now. But then other players have gone to Benfica, and we did the list. It's really good. It's me and you pointing that one. But it's just another. It's really interesting when you've got most of the conversation at the moment is about who's spending the most money and blah blah blah. It's really refreshing that there's another way.
Doing it right.
What would be nice would be if we could, and we won't because there's too much to think about, but track some of those players and see whether they get games, whether it's an interesting kind of career decision for them or not.
It would be you should get a list and see how they go throughout the season.
Why not?
We should do it.
Oh, this is good.
This is a good one. So, do you want to talk a little bit now?
What should we move on to Danny?
Do some questions, I reckon. Now we're kind of we're not far off, like the top third over there. Let's see if we got any questions from people.
Right, if we let's go to listener questions.
So we got ones that have been phoned in already.
These are ones that have been sent to me.
Fine.
There is a good one, but I think because we're going to do our discussion at the end, as we usually do on a wind down, it's one for that rather than when we're trying to concentrate.
Let's do it.
One of them is Danny Roseman, so that links into the next thing, so we'll leave that. Then Bailey's on the running order. Oxlade-Chamberlain we've covered, I suppose. But Oxlade-Chamberlain to Chelsea was reared his head again. Now, Nathan, who asked the question, said, "Are there better options?" But I mean, we've covered it to a certain
What, than Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Previous.
If you're picking a right wing back, there are significantly better options.
If you're picking a right winger to compete with your Willian and your Williams, your Hazards.
Yes.
There's a really interesting thing happening at Spurs at the moment where they think Poch has got them all under a spell of like working together, not on massive wages, to be a group player. Do you think he saw Kyle Walker, the situation happening, so he filtered in Trippier as well as the same side, because Ben Davies is fucking great as a left back. I really rate Ben Davies, so you've got cover there potentially if that goes, but trying to keep a group together, that's the reason why Barkley slipped up, I think, because he demanded massive wages. Can you imagine being around?
No, the interesting thing is he didn't demand massive wages.
Not demand.
No, it wasn't massive wages. He demanded wages that were not that far from what he was already earning. The point that was being made is that he would have to halve his wages essentially to fit into the Tottenham wage structure. Now, to touch on your point, was the introduction of Kieran Trippier and Ben Davies a way of protecting Poch against those two? Yes. 100% it was, that he got the sense that Danny Rose and Kyle Walker were being bigged up well beyond their, in my eyes, well beyond their individual abilities.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't want people to think is that I'm saying that last season Danny Rose and Kyle Walker weren't fabulous. They were absolutely incredible. They really fucking were. It annoyed and disappointed me. And not because I play for Tottenham. We'll go over it again. I disproportionately love Tottenham as an Arsenal fan, like stupidly. But I dislike Danny Rose and I dislike Kyle Walker. Now, interestingly, the system works so well at that team that it, in my eyes, makes people look considerably better than they are. And when I say people, what I actually mean is the English players. It's built around, and people were writing about this today, that there is an awful lot of quality from your foreigners that makes the English boys look better, you know. And so, we're talking about Kyle Walker's gone. Right, well, Kyle Walker's gone and Kieran Trippier was actually playing for, you know, towards the end of the season, considerably well, yeah. Danny Rose, they're talking about silly money. Now, I looked it up earlier. Danny Rose wasn't starting for Tottenham from February onwards.
Yeah, no, he was injured for like...
But it wasn't, no, it wasn't even based on injury. It was based on, Poch had decided that Ben Davies was in that system either because he'd been bought into the ethos or because he was protecting himself against the potential loss of big money. To those two. Now, somebody wrote, and I don't know whether this was grounded in fact or not, but they're suggesting that with Tottenham being a fairly savvy financial football club, they have sensed that they've got potential, and I say this lightly, like flash in the pan players, they're two wing backs in terms of consistent form, married with a hyperinflated transfer market, even for the Premier League standards.
Yeah.
And they've also got a stadium to finance. Now we know that Arsenal had to balance their books year on year by selling talent.
Yeah.
Now, if Tottenham could achieve in a season what Arsenal had to do for 8 because of the hyperinflated fees, well then, and that is a reason why they're selling them. Well, I actually think it's fine. I don't have a problem with people selling if they think it's not going to be detrimental to the football club, and they'd rather finance their stadium that way. It might not be. It might be absolute poppycock. But I think the point you made is absolutely right. Yeah, I do. I think that
foreseen.
I think that Poch is probably
the Poch
sensed. Yeah, sense that
keep that core group.
Now,
you're my boy.
Now, interestingly, that is coming to an end. Let's be perfectly clear. Now, it is not long. Until
how would you sell that ethos of, right, you're my core group of players, I need you, sign the big contracts,
right.
I need you here for this amount of time.
The reason is because you do the Leicester thing, yeah? So you have a bit of success, and what you do is, for the first season, you get your group of English boys, so your Wes Morgans and your Vardys and your Danny Simpsons, yeah? They're all signed up, yeah? They all signed up because it was like, yeah, no, of course we're going to sign up. Like, we're a gang, we're a group, we're this is Bonhomese. And then, for me, this is the perfect example. Then what happened? You start foreign players say, well, I fucking want out now. Last season was a catastrophe. And I genuinely think that Tottenham at the moment, because they are performing above expectations up to this point, they're all riding the wave and they're probably all sat around thinking, no, boys, we'll do this together. This is our summer in Ibiza. This is never going to end. I think that it isn't going to take much. And maybe a poor Champions League run this season to be bad for one of them, or Christian Eriksen, or your Eric Lamela, or your Dembélé.
Lamela's gone in his head. He's gone anyway.
To just say, no, actually, this is bullshit, boys. I want to earn. I've only got a couple more years. I want to earn significantly more, but not even significantly more than Raggett, like Neymar. Like, I want to earn market rate for somebody of my talent.
I want to get paid as much as my mate over in
the Arsenal guy, or Man United,
That's fine. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think that's one of Poch's little skill moves, though. I think making one work for him,
which makes it even stranger for me that he wasn't seriously offered the Barcelona job, because that for me sums up what Barcelona were doing, not the wage thing, but the ethos thing and the team thing. And I think that if Poch is a smart man, very soon he leaves Tottenham, because I think that there is only so much growth that team can have before And it's not, and I don't mean this Emperor's New Clothes or something, but what I mean, make sure you do that right in front of the camera as close as you can, everybody. Yeah,
right there,
right in the middle, right across my face. Whilst I'm talking.
Something.
So he's still banging on. Put the fucking tea in front, boys.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on this season, especially.
I do, yeah, I do. So.
It's hard enough keeping Lloris and everyone in check last season.
That'll be like Hugo will be potentially the first one because he ticks the boxes. He's slightly older as well, and so he won't have that. I can sign a 6-year contract and go in 4. Like he'll be thinking that.
That I've read is apparently Lloris has been highlighted as United's #1 choice.
Does this relate back to United?
As if we've already talked about Arsenal loads.
Have we?
Yeah, loads.
Loads.
They're not even on the running order.
We talked about them.
But no, it's just interesting that because then Lloris could get considerably more. As
like he's not old either.
Well, there isn't a Premier League club where he wouldn't earn more money, and I mean that. That includes like Brighton and people like that. Like they would now sign. Yeah, Tottenham is probably the club where you would earn the least sums of money. I would think. Certainly proportionately compared to like league position.
Yeah, definitely.
Something to keep an eye on this season, but we always do with Spurs.
Yeah,
always do.
Well, they're going to be interesting. They really are. I think the Spurs are going to be really interesting.
The Sissoko one when he signed from Newcastle, they were saying that now because of the way that the wages were structured at Newcastle with the rise now they've got promoted, Sissoko would actually be on about 25 grand more a week.
Yeah, I entirely believe that.
I think there's a good stage to bundle in the little bit of Ericsson chat, which do
it. Yeah, go on.
Basically, there's Dele Alli's under the microscope of potential Barcelona move or what have you.
Is he?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
I mean,
so they're doing that, a lot muddled in with Coutinho. You've got Dele Alli.
Someone has just gone Dele Alli.
Dele Alli's fantastic.
So Liverpool has sort of been like, oh shit, we could lose this money because they've scored.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing which leads into. But under the radar, I think. Does anyone else think that Eriksen's underrated?
Yeah.
Right. So
because of.
In fact, I'll let you two talk for a while because I'll do another run. Because
he does get overshadowed. I think he's very structured in his footballing approach. He's a smart footballing brain on him. I think he does what he's told very well. I think if he had more free reign and had more roaming, he'd be even more attacking. Considering he had almost as many points in fantasy football as like Dele Alli last season.
Yeah, they were
always overshadowed because of the
English.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he's structured in his approach. Like if Poch goes up to him and tells him exactly what he needs to do, and to let the flair players go. Dele can go. That's not your job. You need to be in amongst it. But I think he could potentially be one of those big moves to like a Real or a Barcelona sort of player, like under the radar. Because in the spotlight you've got the English thoroughbreds, and you've got Dele Alli's taking the limelight. I think he's really underrated as a player, especially when he gets going. He gets lots of shit as well, Eriksen. I find it's a lot of it's undeserved because I think he's a great player when he's in the zone.
Christian Eriksen for Tottenham, and this research has been done.
Yeah.
Essentially performs the role of, and this is fucking outrageous when you say it out loud. It feels stupid. He performs the role of both Xavi and Iniesta for Tottenham. So he is ridiculously positionally disciplined. He's by nature and his youth career at Ajax and what have you, a very, very attack-minded player.
Yeah, exactly.
He's absolutely ridiculous.
Imagine saying to him, go for it.
Exactly. So this goes back to my comment about the English boys being boosted a little bit. Now, Harry Kane doesn't fall into this because Harry Kane is, in spite of him, and I'm convinced he's not a good footballer, he's ridiculous at scoring loads of goals. So and I don't mean he's not good. Harry Kane is ridiculous. He shouldn't be to the eye. He looks all over the shop, but he's ridiculous. But Ali and the others have been, I believe, their quality has been inflated by the system and the quality of the foreigner around him. And Christian Eriksen is absolutely one of those. So he does all of, sorry, not all of, that's not fair. He does a lot of the work that Dele Alli would in almost any other system.
And he can smash a dead ball.
Because that's what Eriksen does. It allows Dele Alli to score all of those goals. I think that Eriksen could be, and I've not thought about this until now, Eriksen could perform at Real Madrid or Barcelona similarly to the way that Ivan Rakitic did.
Yeah.
Feels like a slightly underwhelming signing. Everybody moaned when Ivan Rakitic, not everybody, a lot of the Barcelona fans moaned when they signed him, and they said they wanted somebody else. He was slightly underwhelming. The first year started getting on his back and they weren't sure. By his second year, everybody saw the quality that he had. And I think that Eriksen could do exactly that.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolutely fabulous player. His ball retention is absurd. His passing stats are absolutely ridiculous.
Love him as well.
It's a good sign as well with Spurs is if you look at the Kane's performances with and without Dembélé.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham's performances with and without Dembélé.
Oh yeah, in general, but especially Harry Kane. Yeah. Like he scores a considerable amount more goals with Dembélé.
Another thought: if Sun was like say he was English in a stupid way, he's one of those underrated, valuable players to have. Like when who's it? Like when Kane was injured, he stepped up and it kept it going. Not much said about him.
I said this to you last season.
Phenomenal little player.
And so Son is another one of my foreign player passions. So I've been banging on to a friend who's a Tottenham fan for about 2 years about Son being absolutely ridiculous. And the way that I said it to you only in passing last year, but Son is an absolute Alec Ferguson player. If Son,
Valencia underneath the radar.
That's exactly it. If Son played for Manchester United, he'd be one of those ones where everybody thought he was rubbish, and he'd still won 6 Premier League titles. He would start a Champions League final. Like he's that good. He is exactly what you would want. He's not British. He's got his faults. He's not scoring as consistently as he was in the Bundesliga. But
he's under the radar, just does his work.
I think he's an excellent footballer. I really do. His pace, his speed is frightening as well. I think he might have a good year this year.
I think he should do.
Yeah. I don't think Tottenham will do particularly well this season at all. They really won't. But should we touch on that really quickly? So,
sure.
Lack of signings, potential departures of some of their better players, and then this stadium situation.
Maybe that's the reason why Eriksen's not been in the press as much, because it's a case of we need to keep know how important that core group of players is, so they don't want any other interference.
But I don't know, because you can't control who's in the press. His agent would be pushing like crazy if you wanted to go. I just don't think this isn't a prediction as such, but where do you think Tottenham will finish next season?
Outside the top 4.
Yeah, well
I'm saying 5.
I entirely agree. I think Tottenham will finish 7th. I think Tottenham will finish 7th.
I think they'll finish outside the top 4. I think
it won't take much to rock the boat and knock their confidence, I think.
No, and once that happens, you are right. Then everyone will start, because we all know that they're comparably, and
they've got a very shallow squad for a Champions League run as well. Very shallow.
Wake up call Champions League.
They might do okay against oppositions in Champions League. Poch is an incredibly disciplined manager. I just think that over the course of the season they are going to struggle big style.
They needed more signings. People take the piss out because there's no sign, but there's a reason because of that. Like I said, stadium or what have you. It's all encompassing.
Or not finding. Maybe it's fair play to them. They haven't signed anybody because
they
refuse to sign anybody. They're refusing to sign anybody that isn't Tottenham quality, and that's not available just yet.
Considering that now they've had a replacement, Kyle Walker anyway.
Yeah. The problem is that you don't have a replacement Kieran Trippier.
No.
And that's almost what you're looking for now. If you're happy with Kieran Trippier and the statistically, Kieran Trippier was actually very good, particularly in the final third. That's maybe where that's what they'll do. They will sign a replacement Ben Davies and they will sign a replacement Kieran Trippier. Or maybe they've already gone. I don't know enough about that.
Recently, he said after Ben Davies not Ben Davis, sorry, Trippier was injured, and they brought on Kyle Walker. I can't remember. It was a double-barreled surname.
Yeah.
And they asked about.
What is Kyle Walker's the other Kyle Walker's name? Anyway,
Kyle. When they asked about him, they said, "Oh, you know, he looks good," and he said, "Yeah, he's good, but he's nowhere near ready for the Premier League." So now you just think, well, your Kyle Walker replacement is injured, and you just said your Kyle Walker replacement isn't ready, but he's your only other option in that position.
Yeah, but then I suppose that's what you start thinking. Then you put is Vimmer still there?
Yeah. No, he got it on loan.
So anyway, that's where Jan Vertonghen will come into his own because they'll shift him out. Right. So
I really rate Ben Davies as well. I think he's so. I love seeing him.
Yeah, well, we're going to disproportionately like him because he's Welsh, and I think we can all accept that.
He's so important for Wales.
But I think he's also a very good fucking footballer. He really is. In the same way that Nacho Monreal and Kieran Gibbs are very different players, but one I think is understated and much better than the other, as Fenger's put out. I think that Ben Davies is, in my mind, the Nacho Monreal to the Kieran Gibbs. Now that's clearly a flawed comparison, but no, I'll get them because they're at home. Yeah. So have you got any other questions? Because we can still do some of that, and then we'll do predictions, I reckon. Because I've got some crackers that I want done.
I didn't see it myself. Well, again, it sort of just links in really to what I put up on the running order. You've got the Dembélé and Coutinho Barcelona stuff.
All right.
Well, the questions are all related to transfers.
Well, no, some of them are.
Let's ignore all the ones that aren't related to transfers then, if we can. Let's talk about actual football.
My favourite.
Have you got any others?
My favourite.
Yeah, I have. It's on a different page.
My favourite curmudgeon was piping up this week with a fascinating thing. Adrian Durham, obviously, keep the kind of controversy for the sake of it. Well, yeah, but his point was when it comes to transfers, clubs need to be more savvy in terms of trying to uncover potential like superstars, and they need to nurture the ones they've got in training. Once they get thinking like, oh yeah, obviously we'll just grab this player and then just build them up and stuff, without the actual comprehension that people are doing that. People do that, like stats and everything. It just doesn't.
Talked about it. What they do in the Bundesliga. 70% of signings they're doing already exactly what you're suggesting they should be done. Yeah, the man's an idiot.
But it just makes it sound so. Oh yeah, anyone could do that. Anyone could buy those players for 89 million or whatever. Anyone can fucking do that.
But what's really interesting is that then they do the opposite. Bullshit. They say buying them superstars is really easy. Yeah. Buying them cheap stars is really easy too. It's like, well, no, that's not the case. What they should be pointing out is how incredibly rare picking up Dele Alli for £5 million is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Bullshit.
What other questions? He's not even looking at questions now. He's off. He's off. We've lost him again. He's waving at fans.
Name check.
What have you got here?
Hang on, I'll get it now.
Hang on. He's got it now.
I'm sending the link.
You'll be there now in a minute.
Someone's got to do our social media.
Someone has to.
Well, someone does that professionally, and one of us doesn't care. So find some good questions, or have a scroll through the Facebook, because you said that Sean put some bits in.
Yes, I'll search now.
Right, Sean put a question which is related to this, as it happens a lot of the time. What we do is people ask us questions, and then we talk about football, and we end up answering their questions, because a lot of the questions sort of no one's coming on and asking us French second, League 2 questions.
Well, we got the wrong audience, so I keep telling you that. We need to work harder.
Do need to work hard. Yeah, I know, but then earlier you said you don't care. I'm trying to build the fucking audience.
I don't care. But you're not.
He says quality over quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't care about followers. He just wants.
Yeah, I want 4 followers, but I want them all to be from like Troyes in France. Is where I want them to be from. Yeah, exactly. Or like Bastion or somewhere.
I can.
Don't follow. Want any followers?
Exactly. I don't want followers, but the ones I want Europeans.
I mean, I can try.
I need people abroad, basically, so that when this place goes to hell in a handcar, I can live in their villa for 6 months while the nuclear apocalypse happens.
Today we were told that there's someone who can sponsor us if we wanted to move to Canada.
Who moved to Canada?
I don't fucking
Well, no, when you say who moved to Canada?
No,
Let's
as
consider
in
it.
someone that Nick knows.
Would sponsor what, you, Nikki, and the family?
She's become an official sort of resident, so she could now sponsor people to come over there and live there. Wow.
The other thing I think we should look into is let's do like Wolf Cola or get some sponsorship in and just drop it into conversation.
Yeah, we should.
Definitely should. I think you'd love that.
I refuse to sell my soul to the corporate dollar. Fuck you all.
This Wolf Cola is great. You can buy it.
Imagine us doing it.
Wolf Cola.
I love the idea of all of us just like that, or you and me like that.
Yeah.
I'll
be telling you, it's the shittest cola I've ever
It's a
tasted.
lovely brew. Do you know where you can
We'd
get
be
this
doing that
brew
without
from?
Wolf Cola.
Yeah.
With
I love Wolf Cola, and nothing quenches my thirst. Can I just stop you there? Nothing quenches my thirst.
You know what I love more than anything?
Like
Kickoffs. Let's get that fucking
Like
sandwich.
Wolf Cola.
Right, so what questions have we got then?
Sorry, I completely.
It's the third time you've got to be prompted, honestly.
You need a nice Wolf Cola to get you.
You do.
Is that a thing? What is Wolf Cola?
Is that a new sponsor? Get on board. Get on board.
Is it Manchester United's cola sponsor in like Guam? As the official Maltese cola sponsor of Manchester United.
I will not be
Via
happy
Daggy
until the
Higginbottom.
FIFA Ramble has got its own tractor.
Danny Higginbottom.
I've got to find the
I'll
question.
not rest
I've got
until.
one, yeah.
Have a look at through the Facebook.
What is the maximum number of goals scored by one player in a single match?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Dixie Dean, did he get like loads in a? I don't know. This is a quiz. That's not a question.
Yeah, that's a quiz.
I'm not doing fucking quizzes. Lots.
Right, here we go then. This is one that I thought would be better to be saved, but I thought it was quite nice. Again, it's not so much of a question relating to anything in particular. It's just a nice topic of conversation. Build a five-a-side team. Build a five-a-side team from the players on the losing side of the last FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League, and Europa League finals. And you have to use at least one player from each team.
Is it
No, well, I'm not doing that. So, Philly Boots.
Goalie Rush or?
Like Philly Boots. What the fuck is that? That's done by some knob. That's asked by some fucking idiot who loves fantasy football, basically. And you got my views on that shit.
See, I like that.
Of course you fucking do.
I'd like a good
I like that question.
Is there any fancy
You got a,
football
in fact,
questions?
you've got a Twitter feed that you like to promote that relates to that, haven't you? Like you have all the other things you sly stealth market.
I've got a
doing
few
this
feeds
stuff.
out there, yeah. I've got a few. There is a fantasy football question, but I'm scared to ask it now.
No, ask it.
Don't do
Ask
it.
it.
Right.
You'll get the second barrel, which I've
This is-
saved for this one.
This is from Sean, and it's essentially, can you beat this fantasy football team?
No. Right, I'll tell you now that I can't, and then I'll explain why. So I've done fantasy football once.
Yeah.
I did it. I did fantasy football once, and it was in Skinner's league. Skinner and his boss, who's a proud long-term sponsor and corporate hospitality owner
Yeah.
of Cardiff City Football Club. No longer ex-boss of Alexander Skinner. So he had one, and so fantasy football. He I don't know how he managed, but he got me roped in. So if I was going to do it, I was going to do it my way. That'll surprise no one. And so I picked players only from clubs that I knew would finish in the bottom half of the
on a budget,
table.
on a shoestring.
And I wanted to spend as little money as possible.
I like it. It's a good way.
And so I had people like Patrick Van Arnholt, Ben Chiswell, all players who in fact my team did really well in terms of quality of performance. It turns out they get you fuck all points in fantasy football.
Yeah.
So I came last by like a factor of 5. But the moral victory is mine. Because it's easy to predict that somebody that scores loads of goals is going to score loads of goals. But yeah, I had a Joe up front, and he did really well.
When was this then? Was this
2 seasons?
So this was
3 seasons
Was
ago.
this
3
Leicester's
seasons.
first year?
No. Yeah,
That's his first
it
year.
was,
It was the year that Joe signed, because I'd seen him play for like Acaxa or whoever it was that he played for when I was watching my, like Venezuelan 3rd Division football at 4 in the morning when I was doing that. Yeah. So that was that. So yeah, I'm not the man to answer that, but you and Skinner are all over this shit. So I'll shout for a change.
How many goals is Ian actually going to get?
No, don't. That's not that. You can't ask that question. You can't ask that question.
We've got the
We'll get to that in a minute.
It's in the actual
No. We've already done the answer
fantasy
to it. No, we can't do that in a minute because we'll come on. We'll come on to that in a minute. I've got some good.
Are you going to put him in your fantasy football?
I'm not at the minute.
Chicharito
Is the Leicester's first 7 fixtures are very, very, very difficult. They've got Liverpool, United,
like I said, it's
City,
irrelevant.
Arsenal and Chelsea.
Beginning of the season, there's going to be
opening
loads of
six.
upsets. They're not going to get thumped because they're not.
No,
How much is Tammy Abraham on the fantasy
right,
football?
he's an interesting one because I nearly I nearly put him in 5.5.
He would get in right. You need to not put him in because I'm telling you now, he would definitely be in my fantasy football. So which means he will perform really well. He'll get you fuck all points.
Yeah, no, I decided that the way to go
Yeah, nice free kick.
was 3 main strikers.
3
who
beasts.
I thought we're going to get a good amount of points.
Where'd you take the hit though?
I
You
reckon
midfield or your defence?
I might do one this season then again, another one of those
I
shit
think you
teams.
should. You've got until
should.
tomorrow.
Do it today. I'll send you links for leagues.
I'm not going to fucking leagues.
Yes, you
off
are.
leagues.
Yes, in leagues.
Should we set? Why aren't we having our own football ramble league then? If that's what the fucking if that's what the common man loves.
Only if you're involved. That's the term.
do I
That's
have
the
to
T's
do?
and C's. Can't call it and then go. You
can't
we can
say
set it
go
between the
in.
two of us, but we're usually pretty close in the league, aren't we? Yeah.
Do that
Yeah,
then.
we
Let's
usually
do that. Let's do
Man
one of
United.
these things, but as long as it's.
You have to do it though. Or at least just put one out. You don't have to maintain it. I just want to.
I'm definitely. That was the other thing I failed to
no
say.
transfers.
Is that I did no subs ever and no transfers. So I did the team that I picked on the opening day of the season
Was the one on the
was the one on the last day of the
Fair
season.
enough.
That didn't work out well.
Weird
that.
Yeah. No, I struggle with mine a little bit because I do take it kind of seriously. At
You?
the start.
You overthink it. You
I do
double bluff
really
yourself.
overthink it.
It's almost like we're caricatures of each other. Aren't they? Like
Yeah.
I don't care at all, and you just care far too much.
Yeah, I do care far too much about shit. The way I do it is I
You
go.
mess your head up
I
when
go-
it's, when
yeah,
it's
I
squeaky
do.
bun time.
Yeah, I do. Like now,
just play-
I haven't looked at it. I've specifically.
You put out a couple of tweets about it, haven't you already?
You've got
Like,
free transfers. You're already thinking of doing a wild card.
What's the wild card? Is that the
You
one we
just
get
change-
super points?
change it
many
all up.
transfers as you want.
Yeah.
Is that
Where
right?
you go because you can
Yeah,
only
one.
make one. You can only make one a week,
Yeah.
unless you don't make one week. Then that one rolls on to the next week. So you
To
get
a maximum of how many?
2. It stays at 2, so you can only ever have 2 transfers.
But you can pay
Unless
for
you
it.
wild card.
Gosh, you can fucking pay for them. Jesus Christ.
No, like points, not money.
Oh, not money.
So if
Fine.
if you have 3 transfers, then it's minus 4 points off your total accumulated.
Which
that
it's
kind
4
of game
points. That's like a
And
clean sheet.
can that go into negative?
week, if you don't score enough points, yeah. So if
I
you
love that. Shit.
but yeah, so this I struggling with the keeper. But what I tend to do is go really cheap goalkeeper.
You need to go
because
the cheapest goalkeepers.
I'm going to go
Goalkeepers-
the most expensive goalkeeper I can
Yeah,
afford.
because goalkeepers they get points per save. So realistically,
Oh, so you want Lucas Fabianski?
yeah, something like that.
Right, well he's going in goal for me then.
So Fabianski,
Well,
Foster, Hennessy. Unless there's talk, Hennessy. Have you seen the this? I know it's transfer rumours.
Hennessy, will
Well, it's not
Hennessy get a
rumours.
game? Hennessy will get a game.
Hennessy's their number 1 at the moment. They played Speroni, but
Yeah,
Hennessy has
didn't
been
play
their number
last
1.
season. Mondola's
But
gone.
they've had a bid rejected by West Ham for Adrian.
Okay.
Bid to him down.
Cheapest, I'd choose the new boys for goalkeepers or West Brom.
Well, West Brom have had the worst pre-season. of
Doesn't matter
any
pre-season.
team in the Premier League.
Does it really matter?
You've done that. Right, can we do another? Can we do an actual question? There must be one on the feed. 'Cause
See,
Sean-
yeah, there are ones on the feed, but a lot of them are fantasy football related. Darren's added some, but they are. Right, he said, one for you, Skin. Do you go forward heavy or goal scoring midfielders, defenders?
Well, this is it.
Interestingly, you can probably get better value going premium defenders for certain clubs
Look,
and missing out the midfield, as in Kyle Walker, because he is, when he plays,
yeah.
he's a points magnet in fantasy
Listen,
football. He's a man of assists.
Listen, the feeling is you thinking you go hard and heavy up front, right? First of all, and then one injury throws you off, and then you go budget, and then you move your attacking midfield around.
Yeah.
So, look, in theory, it's great. You go bolstering like go big time on your forwards, but the reality is it's going to be wherever there's an injury, which is going to happen. There's going to be a big player that's out. Harry Kane's going to pull a hammy or something. That's going to pull out. You're going to put someone in form in. You're just getting on the start. That's what my favourite part of the season is, calling those little peaches of cheap players or newly promoted players who look amazing because you judge them and they carry through. And you put them in there and you leave them in your team and you feel proud at the end.
Right, let's move on. Fantasy football does my fucking head in.
You're uncovering gems.
You're not though. You can uncover gems by watching lower league football or by really
German
liking football.
Should we go on to talking about German football?
No, I want questions. Is there not a question of note amongst all of them?
Right. The only problem that I'm now having with my question of note is that I can't seem to access the older comments for some reason. I've got comments, I can see them, but I can't actually skip past a certain point. You won't let me go back on Facebook.
Do you want to try?
I'll get them to resubmit it. Is that not working down there, the laptop?
Which, if you're watching, you should be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you're just watching us talking. You're not watching any football, which might benefit.
Not much, but it will a bit.
Your favourite word, you're a regular. Am I right in thinking that Rose only wants to move because he wants to win something?
Well,
he did mention he wants to see something on his CV.
Well, that's ridiculous because footballers don't have curriculum vitae. So that's a document related to employment. That's bullshit. Danny Rose doesn't have to show his CV to anybody. Well, that's ridiculous to say because he hasn't even signed for a club yet.
No.
So you can't judge that until he's signed for a club. And
he wants to go up north, right?
He said he wants to go up north, but then he also said that he can see himself playing at Chelsea. So I'm not sure he's real. Does he know what? Well, he's from Leeds, isn't he?
He's from Leeds, yeah.
But he said, he wants to
Chelsea
play at north.
No.
Chelsea's not even north of Tottenham.
No, it's not even north.
It's not even north. Like Tottenham, the most North London club in the Premier League of that level.
But he also said United, apparently. Well, no, he didn't say it, but that's why I read it's now cut. So he's
did he say United?
He's done the advert. He's done the
Definitely
interview,
United.
and then his agent's gone off. But we've covered Danny Rose
rocking,
stuff,
and we've covered
see,
rocking the Spurs boat as well.
But I can see why
Fragile.
he's at that age.
No, I think we've covered why he would like to leave. He's not getting paid market value.
He's not.
I think that he's English, so he feels overhyped, and I don't think he's as good as. Maybe he's smarter than I give him credit for, and he realises that he's not actually as good as he's being credited for, and so this is his one-off move. We were talking about this yesterday. There is, throughout, people always talk about the good transfers that happened, or the failed transfers that happened, yeah? Nobody ever talks about, or seldom talks about, transfers that should have happened and didn't, and players suffer.
Yeah.
Jetro is the go-to one that I say all the time.
We were discussing yesterday, market value, and then like say Coutinho. I fucking going back into the Coutinho thing. If they got offered 130 million and they rejected it for the sake of it, they'd be like, oh fuck, we probably that is almost as bad as missing out is almost as bad as selling your. Well, you're missing out on money basically.
People are poor. Basically, what we're saying is that people are poor in the Premier League. People are not only poor at buying, they're also poor at selling.
Yeah.
And
I
think that Tottenham may well be onto something by selling Danny. If they do sell Danny Rose, and maybe this is part of the thing. Maybe now they'll pretend they don't want to sell him because then you'll extract another 10, 15 million.
Yeah.
And in a bloated market, that's gonna end up being quite a lot of money. And then you find somebody that's better. But I don't know. Maybe Danny Rose does want to go and win something, and it's difficult for me to comment because I'm always the one that says, well, if Danny Rose wants to moving to win something, I find really difficult because Fabregas and Nasri and Van Persie also they wanted to move to win something. Well, you can blame the manager all you want, but essentially the players are the players playing. Yeah. Well, if you want to win something, Arsene Wenger's line should have been, well, you win something, do you boys? You fucking win it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all want to win the Premier League, do you boys? Well, how about you fucking win it? And what's interesting is if three of you go to if the three of you go to individual different Premier League clubs, next year only one of you will win it. Yeah. So two of you will still not be winning the Premier League. Yeah. So if you want to all win it and win it together, you stay here, you fucking idiots. I don't imagine Arsene Wenger speaks as rashly as that.
No,
He's a little bit, just a little bit smarter than me.
He doesn't seem like.
So yeah, there we
So
go.
maybe he is going for that, but maybe not. I don't know.
With money in football now, would a player like Matt Letizia, if he was playing now, would he have stayed at Southampton for his whole career?
I don't think Southampton would have given him an option. I think there will be a point at which I think Matt Letizier's the kind of player Matt Letizia was and the cult status that existed was very much of its time, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
that it was
foregone
as
era.
reflective of Matt Letizia as it was the Premier League at the time, and maybe even fucking, you know, without going too deep, like Britain at the time. I think now that there will probably be less tolerance from the fans about Matt Letizia. I can't believe I didn't fucking tackle that then. There will probably be less tolerant of players like Matt Letizia now. Like he'll be earning. There's no way if Matt Letizia was playing for Southampton now that he wouldn't be earning £200 a week.
Yeah,
Because he still would be asking for those.
League Trump just go where you
Oh, right, League Trump. Yeah, I think that's
that type
wonderful.
of thing.
But no, right. So I don't think Matt Letizia would stay, but I don't think that would all be down to Matt Letizier's choice. I think that there will be a point at which Southampton would. So it's when finances were shorter for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been easier for Southampton to say, oh well, I'd rather not have the 3 million that Man United were going to offer or the 8 million that Man United were going to offer. If now in modern football they valued Matt Letizia 100 million, which they probably could at the moment, right? Southampton aren't turning that money down. You know, I know that they're doing the Dick Van Dyke stuff, but as we all know, they're turning down the Dick Van Dyke stuff until the money's big enough. And I think that Letizia would probably do the same. But who knows? Who knows? Again, it's another one of those. I quite like that question.
Yeah, look at that Southampton team as well. You had some like cracking players there. Yeah. Dowie up front.
Oh, yeah.
Was that
Alan Shearer? Alan Shearer
Neil
played at Southampton. Neil Shipley was there. Well, he did the Crystal Palace rounds as well, didn't he? Yeah, Shearer was at Southampton. Oggy. Steve Grizovic.
No, it's Coventry.
Austin Stad, who gets mentioned every single podcast.
Yeah.
As we knew,
Joey Barton,
Kevin Davis at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
KD.
Right.
James Beattie.
James Beattie, yeah. The Beattie Boys.
Marion
I'm not
Pajas.
touching this.
Skinner's in charge.
Oh, okay, we're doing. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Right.
That's it. Think he'd have stayed because Saints don't need the money and can pay him enough. Think he'd have been fitter and therefore less of an issue for fans allowing his shit games. Well, that's interesting because I don't know whether they would. Would he be any fitter? I mean, this is Ronaldinho thing now, isn't it? This is the idea that players are now mega fit is really interesting. For every Cristiano Ronaldo you've got that is super fit, you've got a Gundogan who is still chunky as a motherfucker. Santi Cazorla is appalling. Apparently, he's a chubby funster like that.
When they get back from training.
He carries more additional pounds than I do, Santi Cazorla, but the man's a magician, so he gets away with
that
it.
picture.
Mkhitaryan, he's got a round
he's lost
baller.
it now, but when he came back.
Would you say Ken Barlow? Ken Barlow plays for Palermo.
Got that quite.
So yeah, Nikki Smalley's joined. Well,
here we go.
Take your shirts off is what she's just said.
Always,
She's doing it again.
every week.
Every
week.
It doesn't feel like a ramble.
It's not. We haven't started.
Told us to take our shirts off. We haven't started. Probably.
One week, I'm going to take my shirt off, and she's going to be aghast. It'll be like the scene in Phantom of the Opera where she believes that she wants to see beneath the mask, and what she's confronted with the reality of that situation, she quickly realises that she was asking for things that she wasn't prepared for.
What's that film where he's disfigured and the girl's blind in it? Really obscure.
I think you're talking about Lionel Richie's Hello music video. It's
what
what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
What's the film where they create a sculpt? They sculpt his
There's like
face.
scene where she's reading a book
ceramics
via braille, and then when she turns
Don't
to
do
go to
the
sleep,
don't do the action.
I did. I closed my eyes.
Don't do the action.
But
you closed your eyes.
I did.
Blind people haven't just got their eyes closed, Luke.
But it's I talked about it. The annoying thing.
Oh,
about
good. That's
that
fine.
video,
Then.
the best part about that
He's
video
rehearsed this.
is that when she's reading a book, when she decides I'm going to go to sleep now, she turns over and turns
Turns
the
the
lights
light
out.
off.
Which
But then, as you know, blind people can be light sensitive. So
I love it. It's brilliant. So I
Yeah.
suppose.
so Nicky Smalley's in, taking the piss again.
Liverpool, should we move it on? Wiggle on.
We're going to talk about Liverpool.
Great expectation.
Right. So, no. So under Liverpool, I asked that two things be written down, and so I can basically have a rant again about Liverpool. Reading the thread today, which I thought was, as I say every week, really interesting. And for me, in 10 years, Liverpool have finished in the top 4 twice and have won League Cup to their name. They scraped in to the Champions League qualification places by 1 point, having only played 1 game a week all year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, the perception is that they are on the up and doing really, really well, when a club like Arsenal, to go back to them,
Yeah.
is viewed
Every week.
as nowhere near as good or successful. Now, as we know, Arsenal have won more FA Cups in the last 2 years than Liverpool have won Cups in the last 10. But it's a thing about perception. And so basically what I wanted to talk about very, very briefly was how are Liverpool still getting away
Press.
with these expectations being diminished, etc. And how long will it be?
They'll become unstuck because they haven't got the squad to deal with it, or the savviness of dealing with the Champions
They
League.
haven't got that.
Like I
So,
say,
but why? I suppose why are the expectations of Liverpool considerably lower than they ought? That's offside, surely.
I thought it was offside. It's not offside.
I thought it was. I was expecting it to be flagged down.
I can't believe what I've seen there. That was definitely
Played on
offside.
one side.
So that was the first one, and yeah, just reading about it, and it struck me that it was like Liverpool are so unsuccessful, and the thing that was brought up was because they had such a significant dip. So Chelsea, Manchester United, and Liverpool now have all significantly dropped below what would be traditionally expected of them, and are now seen to be kind of like on the up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to Arsenal, who get loads of stick for the way that they finish every year, the notion that was posited was that Arsenal's consistency actually works against them. If they had one atrocious season and then were able to show improvement beyond that, people's expectations of, or people's belief of how they were performing would actually outweigh their actual performances. So the question went on to say, for example, if Liverpool finished 4th every season on 73 to 75 points for 3 years, or how many years, I suppose the question would be, before they got rid and demanded a new manager.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably fair. I think that's probably the same of Tottenham. I think it would probably be the same with Manchester United.
I think it's a huge mentality thing, is what I think. You know, like bringing Klopp in was brilliant, because obviously anyone would love Klopp. I think it's a mentality change thing, which Man United have gone through as well. You change the mentality of that. You know, you used to hear fucking Gary Neville harping on of like, it's a power that's gone, this, that, and the other.
So
you build it up over time.
Darren's just commented, as a Chelsea fan, I see Arsenal as above Liverpool, but the tide will change if Liverpool finish higher again this season. So Darren thinks that it only takes 2 seasons to change perceptions, which is crazy for me. I strongly disagree.
I said last week when we were talking about Arsenal, well, formerly Arsenal ladies, now just Arsenal, saying that I don't think Arsenal get enough credit in general, and I stand by it, because I think you're right. But what will be interesting then this year, say by Arsenal standards, last year was this disappointing season, yeah? Because the league position, not Champions League football for the first time.
They were in every cup across the way, and yeah, they won a cup.
But in the same way, but because you didn't finish in the Champions League for the first time in ages, it's seen as some sort of drop off. But will this year, now getting back in the Champions League, which I think will that then be seen as a somewhat of, oh, they're back where they belong, or will it originally?
No, it's still
will
not
it
be
then be seen as, oh, well, you should fucking.
They never have to. Either way, it's not.
So Darren's second comment here is Arsenal need to win the league. I prefer to win the league, drop to 10th, and then win it again over finishing second for 3 years on the bounce. Right. Now, in that analogy, yes, and I don't disagree with Darren there. The problem is that he's presented that as a binary option. That isn't what happens, though, is it? That's what happened once to Chelsea. Yeah? the more standard thing is that you will vary wildly between those things. So if you compare them to Manchester United, so are Arsenal better than Manchester United? Because Manchester United didn't win the league, dropped to 10th. They didn't win the league, then dropped significantly down the league, then kind of half came back and didn't really do much better.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tottenham. Tottenham haven't... in this theory, are Tottenham a bigger club than Arsenal? They finished once above them ever.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, I think it comes down to perception that people don't expect as much of those clubs that they do of Arsenal, which is probably unfair. Anyway, so that was the first Liverpool thing I wanted to talk about. And the second thing was, so Liverpool have got a sleeve sponsor now, which people may have seen. Have you not seen that?
A sleeve sponsor?
Yes, so they will be having Western Union on their sleeve from this season. So it's the Premier League has now relaxed its...
Union, is that?
It's the money transfer.
Yeah,
the money transfer.
Is that to do with?
Others are available.
Is that to do with the owners then?
No, it'll be more to do with their significant African fan base. Actually, Western Union is popularised mainly now as a money transfer from the European diaspora, sending money back to the African continent. Because transfer of, with exchange rates. No.
Specifically North America.
No, Western Union is the biggest money transfer thing that's used on the African subcontinent.
Just remembering all the massive billboards for Western Union that I saw in Cape Town.
Well, and there we go. So that is whilst it's still Southern Africa, it's still Africa. So they've got Western Union, and they're getting paid £25 million a year for that on their sleeves.
How much?
25 million. Yeah. Not 25 million a year. I think they're being 25 million pounds over whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. So that in itself is interesting because the regulations have been relaxed where you can have multiple sponsors now, whereas previously you could only have one. And this goes back to a conversation that me and Skinner used to regularly have. So me and Skinner on FIFA used to love playing French teams, and the reason we did was because they've got absurd regulations on sponsors, the number that you can have. So you can have a front sponsor, a back sponsor, a top sponsor where the names are in the Premier League, but in fact you have a sponsor there. You can have a different sponsor at the top of the back of the shirt as on the bottom of the back of the shirt with the player's name in the middle. You can have, as well as the absurd kits, you can have a sleeve sponsor, you can have a two sponsors on the front of your shirt. It's amazing. So the kits always look like
NASCAR.
Absolute typographical abominations is basically what they look like. It is absolutely incredible. So we used to get. So I welcome our multiple sponsored overalls.
We need to do the kit thing as well.
But what it will do is further increase the disparity because Liverpool will at some point, and Manchester United will probably do this. Will get paid more. They do get paid more for their training kit per season than some Premier League clubs get for their main kit.
Well,
so
that weird year where we had
DHL, didn't you?
We had DHL as our training kit, but there was also
and then you had Chevrolet as your that was the year you also signed up Chevrolet, wasn't it? As your
deal for now that Adidas manufacture our shirts and we get a lot of money from them. There was a point where our training gear, the deal was a separate deal with Nike.
Yeah,
but like Nike did our shirts. But they also did our training gear. Now the deal for Nike to do our training gear was actually like 2 months or something longer than the deal that we'd signed for our first kit. So we had the there was a period where they announced where they brought out the Adidas kit, but they couldn't, and they had new training kit coming out with Adidas. We couldn't use it for 2 months.
Right. So that's one thing I was talking about. But the second thing I wanted to talk about was about the Western Union stuff. So there are fans in uproar, yeah, because football fans are idiots, as we well know. We are three of them. What people have started talking about now is purity, yeah? So like the conversation probably when they started introducing names on the back of shirts and then sponsors, they're talking about the purity of it all, and the Liverpool kit looks awful now. These Liverpool fans, honestly, they're saying that it looks absolutely ridiculous, it's horrible, like the game's gone mad, where's the boot room, what does Mark Lawrenson think, as if anybody actually cares what that man thinks. So they're talking about that, yeah? Which is fine, and I get that in a microcosm, but then the interesting point that I was thinking about was, on the same Liverpool blog I was reading, they were also demanding that they spend £90 million on Virgil van Dijk. Now, these are fans which are simultaneously asking, to be able to have now safe standing at like £3 a pop, season tickets at like, 2 packs of White Diamond and a lollipop, They want to have shirts with no sponsors on whatsoever. They want to do no post or pre-season tours. They don't want to pay for Sky subscription to watch the football, and then they want their club to spend £90 million on a guy that played for Celtic 3 seasons ago. I just don't get it. I don't get it anymore, and I know that people aren't the best thinkers in the world. Like fucking marmosets are brighter than humans, but I just don't get there's an increasing disparity between what football fans think that they want and what they're asking for can actually result in. The only way that Manchester United can afford £90 million Paul Pogba is because they've got a tractor sponsor, because they've got a Vietnamese pho noodle sponsor. It's ridiculous to assume that they will be these really pure community clubs like they used to be, whilst also paying people $300,000 a week.
I don't understand though why, apart from I've seen an advert with Wayne Rooney sat on a tractor. I don't understand why anyone gave a fuck. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's how it is now. In the fact that it's just a part of the game.
What you should do is get the boot room back in and sponsor it.
Well, honestly. So Darren said here, couldn't care less about the amount of sponsorships as long as kits get back to being affordable. Right. Well, again, that's not going to happen because shirts aren't for fans anymore. Therefore, that's a massive revenue stream for. Actually, right.
The worst goal you can score on FIFA.
So Darren said, couldn't care less about the amount of sponsorships as long as kits get back to being affordable. Right.
Yeah.
Kits won't be affordable, and the reason that kits won't be affordable is because clubs get paid an inordinate amount of money for the kit deals. And so the way that kit deals are now structured is that clubs get almost no money, like literally almost no money per shirt sold.
Yeah, it's very low.
All of that money pretty much gets split between the shop who sold it, the distribution network that got it there, and primarily the kit manufacturer.
Yeah, because they pay
up front. Exactly. So this is the bullshit when they used to say how much, like Neymar will, the old thing. Neymar will
the kit
will get back his that was a world class save.
That was insanely good.
Neymar will make his transfer back on shirt sales. Well, that's bullshit because PSG have already been paid for their shirt sales up front.
Don't they have to cover a certain amount though?
Maybe, but what's not going to happen is...
I'm sure I read that if Adidas say pay United X amount of money up front for the shirt, so if that money is then matched, anything over that then gets...
But that's not true because
I'm not sure how it works.
Because this is another one where they say that the number of shirts that Manchester United would have to sell worldwide, which is ludicrous because football clubs don't get associated with large brands like Nike and Adidas for shirt sales. It's not that. People work in microcosms again. The reason Adidas sponsor Manchester United isn't because people are going to buy Manchester United shirts, because there aren't enough of those people. That's such small fry for Adidas. What Adidas want to do is be associated with one of the biggest football clubs in the world. So people buy, and I mean non-Manchester United fans buy their trainers and their hockey sticks and everything. It's in a way not related. It's essentially a marketing exercise. It probably comes out of... If I'm being honest, and I obviously don't know this, it wouldn't surprise me if it came out of their marketing budget, essentially sponsorships like that, because this is Adidas the brand, and it's about, it's the reason why motor companies lose inordinate sums of money on F1. It's that all comes out of the fucking marketing budget, essentially, because Mercedes, by winning the F1 championship when they do, then sell, and it's proven, sell thousands more cars. Because people want to be associated with that car is really fucking good, that brand, and so I think that Adidas will try and do that as well.
It's
money majority from sponsors. If clubs improve, they've got more fans via shirt sales, then they can command bigger sponsorship money. That's not strictly true, but I mean clearly that is a reason why Manchester United say they've got a global reach of $1 billion and why they do all of that. Yeah, of course. Of course. The point to make there, though, Darren, is the number of international fans bears almost no relevance because, again, outside of Western Europe, most fans can't afford to or don't buy legitimate shirts. Yeah, and this is, and again, like, this isn't born out of, well, it's born out of two things. One is fact, because that is the truth, and the second is I spend a fair amount of the year abroad working in Asia and the Middle East, etc., where the vast majority of people's shirts, and everybody wears a Man United shirt, don't get me wrong, everybody does. No one wears an official Man United shirt.
No, I didn't send you the photo, but when I was in even Spain, I went to Spain recently, and you saw it, Skinner, didn't you? The knockoff Man United kit that was on set was brilliant, and he kept saying €50, €50. I was like, you spelled Manchester wrong. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't say United, and you spelled Manchester wrong. I saw a Juventus shirt and I thought, oh, that's quite nice actually. I was like, it doesn't look that bad. So I turned it around and it said Diabala 99. I was like, right.
Very good.
I mean, I like
it. Rating on FIFA.
Yeah.
This guy was a meta shirt knockoff shirt salesman. Yeah. Also via foreign community activities. Again, but an awful lot of that is knockoff kit and what have you. So yeah, I just wanted to touch briefly on the growing disparity between what fans want and what fans say they want and what they actually want by their actions, which is going to be no surprise to anybody.
Got one more random game.
Yeah, we can do a random game. Let's do it. Do you want me and you to do a random game?
Yeah. I just need to go to the toilet, and then I've got something that we can. We've got a few things we can talk about actually. So I'm not bothering going to the toilet.
Don't bother going to the toilet.
I won't bother going to the toilet.
It would ruin it. It'd throw it all off.
It would throw it right off.
Right, we've got to
spend more time talking about
a Dean Gray access to Remy's room.
Right, I'm going Malmo. You're going Brentford. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Malmo, Brentford's good. Right.
Yeah,
this is for
Who wants Harry Redknapp updates?
I fucking want nothing more right now.
Right,
Harry Redknapp.
I'm not sure if you've seen it. There's not a lot of updates, but the one thing I did find very good.
Oh, then I've got my questions to do. Keep reminding me. I've got my three questions to do afterwards, which I think is really interesting.
Did anyone see what Harry Redknapp said?
No.
When Ipswich beat Birmingham City on the weekend, we're not.
I did not see.
Did anyone see his post-match interview?
I need 5 or 6 in. Is presumably he's upset. Like I've not seen it.
Like,
did he definitely say I need 5 or 6 in?
What happened was they said,
It's what he'll say.
Harry, what are your thoughts on it? And I swear,
what did he say?
They said their question was something along the lines of, Harry, what are your thoughts on the game and the performance? And he said, I need 6 or 7 points.
Even more than I thought. Did he genuinely say that? Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did.
What are your thoughts on the performance? And he just went, I need 6 or 7 players in.
Yeah.
But they're trying their hardest. I told them who I want.
I need 17, 18 players in. I tell you what, they tried to find Nico Crancher. He hadn't even got a SIM card in his phone anymore. They bother. Did he genuinely say that?
Yeah.
I mean, of course he did, but fuck me. That man is incredible. Yet, he still gets jobs. Football is broken from top to bottom.
It's brilliant.
When people like Harry Redknapp continue to get jobs, just
don't call him a wheeler dealer.
He's not no, he's a fucking fraud. Like, does the man know more about football than me? Yes, like 100% he does. It's easy to criticise Harry Redknapp. I know better than anybody. But he's like Fergie, they used to say. You ask Harry Redknapp about like who Dulwich Hamlet are playing this weekend, and he will tell you, and he will speak incredibly knowledgeably about it. Like, they reckon that like lower league football, from my view, like he can talk to you about, there's this 14-year-old kid at Wycombe Wanderers and fucking hell, like, he's a cracking lad. Try to sign him. Try to sign his granddad last season. So he does, like, he knows a lot about football. But fuck me.
Remember with the Lampard, when Lampard was a youth player? He was like, believe me.
There's one. Well, that's one of those weird interviews where it got really embarrassing because Frank Lampard was quite a shy guy at the time,
he was,
and he was. So Harry was getting an absolute stick for selling. Have you seen that interview, by the way? It's wonderful. It is a fan. I think it's an end of season.
Find it. Post
fan review. Yeah, in fact, we will post this because this is really good, and lots of people have probably seen it. It's an end of season forum, or it's a Christmas time forum, or what have you. And there's a load of West Ham fans that's in there. Harry's sat up there. There's Harry,
slaughtering
Frank Senior,
Lampard.
Frank Junior is sat up.
Lampard
yeah.
had a shit game.
It might even be a press. No, it isn't. It's definitely a Christmas party.
Is it post like Swansea loans?
Yeah. No, in fact, it might not even been. But so he sat up there, and they're talking. These West Ham fans are like, "Oh, and you fucking let go of," and whoever it was. Like, I can't even think of who the players were, but like these were old West Ham. No. It's pre that stuff. Like they're talking like. He's like, and you fucking get rid of that, and you should be having him in, and blah. And Harry's getting a load of stick, and Harry, to be fair to him, just leans forwards, and he's just like, look, 2 points. One, you don't know more about football than me. Like, trust me, it's my fucking job. Yeah. He's like, 2, this kid is class.
Yeah.
He said, and stop your nonsense about this potentially being about Frank Senior being involved in the club and all that malarkey. This kid has it all and will have one hell of a career.
And he'll have in England. He'll be in England.
He'll be in, like, it's just post. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it is really.
If you
I'll show you.
We'll we'll put it up on the Twitter and the Facebook page. Because
Right.
I haven't seen that.
While you're doing that, then I'm going to ask my 3.
I'm looking forward to this.
I've got 3.
Can I just throw out there as well? He also used the phrase, "We haven't given up hope on signing Stewie," who turns out to be Stuart Downing.
Stewie.
We haven't given up. He's a cracking lad.
I take it as an insult. I take it as an insult.
I'll ask Gary if he thinks like the publicity he's given young Frank there warrants it, because personally I don't think he's quite good enough here. I also think that in the last couple of years you've let some good midfielders go for peanuts, like Matt Holland and Scott Cannon.
There we go. Matt Holland and Scott
Cannon. He definitely wasn't good enough. He is good enough, and he definitely will be good enough. I let Scott Cannon go. He was a good kid and worked very hard. He's got the Brentford. He can't get Brentford's team. He's 21 years of age. I let him go because young Frank's 17, 18, and he's miles in front of him.
That ain't really true.
That is true. You know, that's my opinion, and that's why I get paid to make judgments on players. He's not. No, if you look very carefully, I don't think he's been in too regular. Well, that's your opinion, you know. It's a game of opinions, and you've got a right to your opinion, but I've also got a right to my opinion. You know, and that my opinion. Obviously, I keep the players I want to keep.
If you keep saying opinion,
Matt Holland, I think he may bounce back and maybe first division. He's a decent player, and young Scotty Cannon's a decent player. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent young player. We offered him a 2-year contract, and he turned it down. He didn't want to stay here. You know, it was Scotty's. It was his decision to leave the club. I tried my hardest to keep him.
Crossing Jim Davidson and Groupie Dog.
Give him a 2-year contract. I said, if you get in the
Straight
team,
up.
you'll earn good money.
So that's. I mean, we can post it rather than play the whole thing on here. But
I'll tell you now, you know, you can sit in
this
front of
is.
these people. I tell you without any shadow
Fine.
of a doubt, there'll be no
So that's
comparison
that.
to
And I'm not one to give Harry Redknapp any credit, but I thought that was really interesting.
He's also trying to sign Aidan Flint.
You're gonna pause Harry?
That's true. He's just gotten to the point where he's just like, you'll be bigger than Scotty Cannon.
Yeah, and he's proved right, wasn't he? And his point on Matt Holland was perfect, because Matt Holland came back and was a good first division footballer. Yeah. So, I've got three questions that I want to ask you, and you're not allowed to look here.
Okay.
And I need your gut reaction.
Right, is this
straight away?
So are these ones that we're adding to our predictions?
Yeah. So, who will score the most league goals this season? Liverpool or Manchester United?
I think Liverpool.
Okay. Who will get this season? Kevin De Bruyne or Mesut Ozil?
Sorry, who are they?
Kevin De Bruyne plays for.
No.
No. Kevin is a.
Sorry.
No. Kevin De Bruyne. Mesut Ozil.
De Bruyne.
I'd have to say De Bruyne.
Okay. The last one. Who will score the most goals this season? Kelechi Iheanacho, Marcus Rashford.
Iheanacho.
Let's go.
I'll just post this.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Iheanacho as well.
Okay.
That kills you.
It does, but sensibly, I'm also the Man United fan that thinks that it's silly that Rashford's still at the club. He should go out on loan.
So, for the record, my views are Liverpool. Mesut Ozil, and Kelechi Iheanacho.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I thought they were good. I thought they were nice.
Yeah, Iheanacho, I can't wait.
So we'll still have people in the chat, I suppose. Let us know what you think. So the 3 questions were: who's going to score more goals this season in the league? Liverpool or Manchester United? Who's going to have most assists? Kevin De Bruyne or Mesut Ozil? And who is going to score more league goals? Kelechi Iheanacho or Marcus Rashford?
Right, we've got top. Darren says United outscore Liverpool.
Okay.
Ozil assists.
Yeah.
And goals Iheanacho.
Okay. It's interesting that Iheanacho is the unanimous one thus far.
If I be honest, I think if it was a level playing field, for minutes on the pitch, it would have been easier for me to argue Rashford.
GP 90 is what you're going for there.
Yeah, but I think Iheanacho has been bought by Leicester to be playing up front every game with Vardy, or at least out wide, or he's going to be playing every game. Whereas Rashford won't. We've got so many attacking players, and I think based on what I've seen so far, it seems to be the case that his preferred, if he's going to play with one striker, he has played with 2 in pre-season, with Lukaku dropping off as a number 10. Yeah,
it's because he's got such a good touch.
He has. But if what we've seen,
that's because he's playing Fellaini as a solid 9 as well.
It's going to be up front. Will be our attackers will be Mkhitaryan, Mata, and Lukaku. That'll be the front three.
Mata still
with Lingard seemingly being second choice on the right. And Martial second on the left, so I don't know where that leaves.
Martial needs more game time.
Martial needs more game time. He should be.
He's a great player, really rated.
But then also you get them where does Mkhitaryan and where does Mata? I've said this before.
Mata's going to take a dive, man. Mata's just going to be a fill-in player this year. Like he shouldn't be, but like.
I think if it should be.
Mata's going to take the hit. Last season, he came in, he performed, but otherwise he was trying to eke him out.
If I could pick the 3 to attack now, I would have Martial left, Lukaku middle, and Mkhitaryan right. They would be my 3, with Rashford, Mata, and you'd have to say Lingard.
So that's Mkhitaryan playing the way he did for Borussia Dortmund, which he hasn't actually played for Man United yet, has he?
No, but that's where I think he's played. I think he's started every pre-season, or if he hasn't, he's played at least 45 minutes.
Because it was one of the few saving graces of Arsenal not getting Mkhitaryan was that Manchester United immediately played him out of position.
No, he seems to be out wide right, and. Yeah, at the minute it seems to be Mata, but Martial has played there as well, and then Lukaku through the centre. Okay. But Mkhitaryan has been, but also now interesting in the last few games is Pogba has been playing very high.
Yeah, of course he has. Well, I need to send you a piece about the Man United are essentially playing a lopsided 3 at the back. In possession, this is now.
Well, yeah. Did I send
that to you?
Yeah,
I'll probably send it to both of you. Yeah, Manchester against Real Madrid, Manchester United, and this is average player positions from 1st to 70 minutes, which is the standard metric for average player positions, which I find really interesting. I can talk about more another time. They played a lopsided 3 at the back, so essentially Valencia played a high side.
Matic is so important to that.
Yeah, Matic is kind of sitting in, obviously, but again, slightly right-sided beneath Valencia. And then you've got your one centre-back and your left-back kind of playing slightly lopsided. Then they play essentially six in midfield and 1 up top. The 6 isn't a flat 6, it's basically an umbrella, which is really interesting. So I'd quite like to keep an eye on that, because that's really interesting and quite un-Jose Mourinho-esque, really, to play like that, because even it is in today's.
But Arsenal are going to be playing 3 at the back as well this season.
You think?
Yeah, definitely think so.
Okay.
Arsenal at the back is interesting this season because
not if you're an Arsenal fan.
It's
terrifying.
I was looking at it and you got
How much would you take Paulista for?
Right, hang on, we've got some more Darren has said that he's clarified it with the Rashford Iheanacho thing, and he said he thinks Rashford will get more goals for minutes on the pitch.
Sorry, do that one again. I don't understand.
Minutes on the pitch, so Rashford, like
he will get more goals because he'll have.
If it's onto minutes on the pitch,
if you just it'd be a percentage. So
what? So his GP 90, his goals per 90 minutes played will be higher than Kelechi Iheanacho's.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a fairly safe bet because it's likely that Rashford will be coming on. And Rashford will probably come on like the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thing and Javier Hernandez. There are very strict circumstances under which your GP 90 is heavily, like Lucas is for Arsenal. If you come on in the last 10 minutes against tired defenders or what have you, then your GP, and your GA 90 are also higher, which is why.
That's what he wants to do, Jose. That's what Mourinho's doing with Rashford and Martial, I think, because he did it a lot last season. He'd wait till the defenders were tired and flagging against Valencia and against, say, Herrera or against Mata, and then he'd and Rashford, who are quick as fuck.
There is absolutely a case whereby, and this is the role that I always said that Theo Walcott should have been playing for England, particularly, not so much Arsenal, was that Theo Walcott's primary role, Theo Walcott should have been substituted on, and I mean this almost kind of like dogmatically, the moment the left back got booked for England, playing against England. I genuinely, if I was the manager, and I said this at the time, and I'd probably boned onto you about it in the fucking early 2000s, was that as a genuine tactic, I would try and get the left back booked, and then I would play him for a little while, and then bring Theo Walcott or Aaron Lennon or somebody on to run at that, because that's absolutely.
Mourinho did that very well at Inter, but specifically when they played Barca.
Yep.
That was the tactic, wasn't it? It was to let him have the ball for a start, and then to get Busquets booked.
That's exactly it. Once you get Busquets booked, that stops a hell of a lot. And so I think I couldn't agree more. I bring it back to Arsenal again. I think your Martial Rashford thing is exactly right. I think Arsenal with Olivier Giroud and Theo Walcott actually should be 75-minute players on, and it's proven in the FA Cup final and blah 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 that Olivier Giroud can perform that role. And I think if you're looking at getting a load of good goals against tired defences, then Martial and Rashford, in terms of confidence, could absolutely be slaughtering teams. Darren
thinks that Jose, he said this season Jose will have 2 to 3 formations for each game, going back to his first season at Chelsea, and if he gets it right, he thinks United could be champions this season.
I just don't see it, but that's a really we'll keep an eye on that, because we'll do
next week. Thank fuck we actually got fucking Premier League games to talk about properly. Even though bombshell, it's only you and me next week. It's a
bombshell.
It's a duo. You and me next week.
Oh no, hang on. No, there might not be one next week. Next Thursday.
There might not be one next week.
Not next Thursday. Not next Thursday.
Next Wednesday. Can you do Wednesday?
Maybe I can do Wednesday. We'll see.
The double entendres.
I can't do next Thursday.
I can probably do it. Anyway, most likely to still be in their same job, August 2018.
Arsene Wenger.
Mourinho or Rafa.
Rafa's getting a bit frustrated recently.
He's a little bit, there's not.
He's red in the face, red in the cheeks.
But then that's what working for Mike Ashley will do.
Yeah, he knew the risks.
It's like got a fucking hole, isn't it? They're not going to buy anyone. And you compare to Mike Phelan.
Oh, Mike Phelan. Oh, yeah.
That's a really good question. I'll say Rafa will be gone because I don't get the sense that
definitely got a
I don't get the sense that Jose will leave just yet.
I think he'll go until he either
nothing to lose,
wins the league, or I reckon. I really do think Mourinho sees this as a sort of long-term thing, and if he can continue to sort of get trophies, however that may be, and also finish Champions League spots and so on and so forth, then I think that they'll keep him there, because.
But realistically, what trophies can they continually win now? If they do qualify for the Champions League year on year, let's be perfectly clear, they are not winning then not winning
No, if
the
the Super
Champions
Cup's
League.
anything to go by, that's very obvious.
What a save. So, right, do we think that Conte will be at Chelsea at the start
I
of
think
next
so,
season?
because everyone said he's going to fuck
Jamie
it this
Carragher
season.
doesn't, does he?
Everyone said he's going to fuck it this season.
Does he not?
Jamie Carragher doesn't think so. Jamie Carragher said he'd be very, very surprised.
Did he? And they said they'd be Conte would be
Yes,
shit.
it
at the
was
beginning
Jamie
of the
Carragher was so plugged in that he didn't even know Brendan Rodgers was getting sacked from the club
can
that
I
he's meant
just
to be a
throw it out
fucking
there?
institution at.
We've been asked, where did you get your moth fest from? I'm going to go abandon ship.
I think it might be
Butterflies, isn't it?
right. Well, it's a combination of moths and butterflies. Who asked that?
Nikki.
That's nice. I mean, it's
I think it is abandon ship.
sartorially. She's
She's again focusing on tops.
I don't think it's a
She's
bad
very
shit.
top based.
Top heavy.
Well, that's got very different connotations, and I know that you've got a slightly different relationship to Nikki than I have, but I still don't think that is appropriate. Describing her as top heavy, that is. That's not on. It is abandoned ship. Now, did you know that?
Yeah, I'd seen it previously on their website a few years back.
But you still
When
you still phrased it as if you weren't 100% sure.
I wasn't sure because I've
Okay.
also seen. I knew they did shirts like that.
Now
The
is
moth
Nikki asking that
vests
because
are available.
she's gonna tell me that I need my money back, or does she like my moth vest?
Loads of smiley, laughing faces at Skinner's top heavy comment, and then grimace.
Well, there we go. There's a fucking
And Darren wants to know whatever
there's-
happened to
there's
my
20
face knees.
20 years of
Wearing
feminism
shorts,
thrown up the
you are
pan,
wearing
Nikki,
shorts.
there for a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
That's something you're doing. You're doing no good for the world, Nikki. Not with that kind of attitude, love. So he said love deliberately there.
Yeah.
I hope she knows I would never actually use that as a linguistic trope.
You've gone with love.
I go with. Do I look like a man that can get away with saying love? I can't say mate.
You called
And
it
I
that.
can't
He's
say
called
love.
it top heavy. I don't know what.
And what happened to basically what
Whatever
did happen
happened
to
to knee-
fucking knee face?
Right, I did think this earlier, and then I just
Good call. Good question.
stopped. Right, we need to do this.
What were we calling it something? Did I come up with a funny name?
No.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I definitely
we
did.
did.
We did sections
We
because
did
I was
sections.
doing. Yeah.
Because there was what was it? Tweet Wiltshire. Chat Wiltshire.
Chat Wiltshire.
Chat
We
Wiltshire.
did our little bit. Yeah. What was the other
There
one?
was another one where which was just described as Luke yells at his mum and tells her to go to YouTube.
Smalley talk or something like that. I don't know. No, it probably wasn't that, but that's probably that.
Yeah, Luke yells at his mum and tells her to go watch on YouTube. Oh, she loves your mock fest.
Oh, nice one.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, no, there was a talk of can I draw smiley faces on my knees.
Well, no, it started off as smiley faces, but we
And
decided
then
it was going to be
kabuki
kabuki
masks.
theatre, kabuki masks
Yeah.
of existing Premier League players.
It was Diego
and I was
Costa
going to
and
say
Ross
Diego
Barkley.
Costa, yeah.
We were going to draw a kabuki mask of Ross Barkley and
And
Diego
Diego
Costa.
Costa in Panini, cheapskate Panini styles.
I love that.
That does need to be
It's
done.
got
But
legs.
I would say we'll do it
I
next
know.
week, but we don't know whether or not we're going to be doing it.
We'll knock one out next week. We'll knock one out next
We'll
week.
knock one out next week.
Yeah.
Both of
It's
you.
not like it takes any effort. Just
No,
sat down here.
just turn up.
The difficulty for you is that we're going to have to pick such lopsided games
Alright.
because otherwise you're going to lose about 11-0 every
That's
game.
alright, don't worry, I'm used to it. I've won again this week.
Against who?
I beat
Yeah,
him.
3-2.
Is that right?
Yeah, I went Cagliari, is it?
Understatedly, I've battered everybody this
Is it pronounced Cagliari?
Cagliari.
Don't
Yeah.
change it to your game. You always batter us. But yeah, and he went Palermo and I went 3-2. So that's now
That's actually good because you were
3
the underdog
weeks on the
there.
trot now.
You've got a point at least.
I got a point in our 4-all thriller. I was the Faroe Islands, but then last week and this week I've beaten Skinner. Oh, I got sucked in then.
Sucked in by the FIFA. Ooh.
We also asked earlier predictions.
Yeah, go on then. So what what predictions were they?
Right, well, one of them was champions, but we did that in the first one. The first FIFA Ramble, we did champions. You said,
Who did I say?
You said Spurs.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
You said Spurs. I said
crazy
City.
Did I really?
Yeah, you said Spurs.
Why did I say that? Because I don't believe that at all. I don't think that's the
But
case.
you did say Spurs.
It's not like me to say
I've got
things
it
I
down.
absolutely don't believe.
This is why we
I
did
Chelsea
say this
did.
as well. You better start writing them down because eventually I'm going to get to the point where I say I never said that. So you got to write them down now. There you go.
I believe you.
So yeah, Spurs. You picked
Right,
Spurs.
like
let's
Spurs
be
often.
perfectly clear. Spurs aren't winning the league,
No.
so there's that.
Okay, so you
Did I
said
say Spurs?
yeah, you
What?
said Spurs were going to win the
Bloody
league.
More of an idiot. No,
You
This was way before. This was what, 5 weeks ago now. So
Yeah, but I also
well,
knew
6
that they
weeks
were.
ago.
I still knew that they were thinking moving stadium and
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna
at that
spend
point
millions
you
of
may have
pounds.
also thought that they were going to spend more than they would have. I said City, and
Yeah.
Skinner said Chelsea.
Darren thinks Manchester United, or is that contingent on if the wind's in the right direction?
Yeah, if Jose can get his formation.
Well, we'll stick these down. We'll make a note of it.
Spurs still?
Right,
Well,
bottom
no,
three.
I don't think I believe Spurs when I said it. If I said it out loud, I'd
Yeah,
be
you did.
facetious.
Right,
Yeah,
bottom three.
Well, we've done that as well. Is the teams that got promoted and Swansea. Two of the teams that got promoted and Swansea. So I'll say Newcastle stay up, and then the other two will stay down. Go down.
Yeah, because we all agreed. Brighton
Huddersfield,
20.
Huddersfield and Brighton will go down, and Swansea.
Huddersfield, Brighton, I think, unfortunately, will. I don't know, I still like to think like West Ham could potentially go down.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'd
If
fucking
West
love
Ham
it if
went
West Ham went down. That's a lovely.
That's good.
It's very good.
It's got a couple of understated blinders.
Right, what time are we on for this?
We've been going for 2 hours and 10.
Oh, did a 2 hour.
That's
It's
alright.
alright. It's not over.
Our longest
Really?
cast thus far was being the most viewed. So
Yeah, that is true.
people want quantity over quality, which is just as well, because that is all they get in here.
Right.
Should we sign off on that?
Well, let's just do a bit of a chat on the out exposed. The last thing I wanted to cover really was the fact that, and we've mentioned it a couple of times, that Andre Gray is being signed now by Watford, and he's going to play up front with Troy Deeney. So they're getting the gangs back together
The
from
Brentford
Brentford days. Yeah.
As mentioned on a previous podcast.
Yeah, and again on a previous podcast, I suggested that at the time, statistically and by the eye test for the scouts and what have you, was that Andre Gray was rated higher.
Pumped.
I said last season to you, didn't I, that if he stays fit, that I believed he would get 15 Premier League
He
goals.
would have as well if
Fully-
he won for something.
Exactly, and fully understanding that was ridiculous at a club like Burnley. Now, it doesn't mean I like the man. His outspoken views on homophobia are clearly abhorrent, but you know, if we judge footballers on their levels of morality, I think the game would be very different. The game, I'd be a bloody saint. I'd be a saint, and I'm not asking to be canonised, but I mean,
No,
if
you're
somebody
not.
wants to fill out the forms,
You
there's
just
a
need
lot of
12
paperwork.
12 people to watch us.
A lot of people to watch it. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it now. So have we got anything else? Is there any other comments? Is your mum gone?
Yeah, she's gone. She wants a cup of tea apparently. Well, she's still staying, bless her heart, but she wants a cup of tea. She said.
That's why parched as a cuttlefish.
Yeah.
She is.
Off your toddle, man.
Is Habs in? Jan doesn't watch.
No,
She's got too much bloody tennis to watch. My mother. She won't watch this shit.
tell her next time.
Until next time.
Get the mum, we'll do a mum watch.
No much.
We do a special Mother's Day one. Shout out to all mums. Mums are fucking brilliant, aren't they?
They are.
Mums are absurd. They're the best things. I think mums are the best things in the world, aren't
Mum
they?
appreciation.
They're up there.
There's things whirring around. There's things whirring around.
There's
there.
some things I don't want to say when mothers are being mentioned at the same time.
No,
to be brutally honest.
Absolutely, you absolutely shouldn't as well. This is a parental guidance. Some scenes may be unsuitable for young children, but
Yeah.
it's not worse than that. No other comments?
Darren has said that for champions he was going to say Chelsea again, but now he's gone City.
Okay.
We
Fickle.
need more cover now we're in the
Bobby.
Champions League, and we've sent out 87 players on loan.
And your manager is still complaining about squad depth.
Yeah. But that's like fucking Mourinho complaining about the inflated market, which has gone ridiculous this season, especially when you got Dortmund saying, "Oh, they haven't a value for Dembele,"
Yeah, that's fine. I
which
think
their
that's
value was
completely fair.
140 million.
Yeah, but I think
It seems like last season that value would have been about 80.
that wouldn't have even
But
been.
Pogba's complaining, and Mourinho's complaining about the inflated value, which he sort of
Well, since the
And a
Neymar
big
deal, that's
part.
fucked everything, wouldn't it?
The Neymar deal and stuff. But yeah, when I was reading it, it now regularly seems to be, they haven't met their valuation, which is £100 million. What?
That's how that
When
works,
that
though, isn't
happened?
it?
That didn't happen last season.
No, but it's what I said to you. Football is the reason I dislike transfer fees is because all it is a pissing contest and it's comparative.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can do it. So if Neymar is worth £200 million, which we all know he's not, but
No.
if the market values him at £200 million, Ousmane Dembélé is, for me, by some distance, the best player in the world, anywhere near that age bracket, other than Neymar. Anywhere near, like plus minus 3 years even.
Yeah.
I think.
That's why you've gone for him.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's it. We're going to do another one of these close downs. You're going to do You're going to go and do.
I'll do Facebook.
An alt O as well.
So,
an alt
thank you
nought,
very much.
if you do that.
Finish that.
Thanks everybody. Good night, Nikki. Sweet dreams.
No.
Bye, Nikki.
When it's finished, it's not finished just yet.
That's a little peek behind the curtain soon.
We'll do that in a
there'll
minute.
be some
There's going to be
music.
some music.
There'll be
So
some
now we'll turn that off.